Hello Internet, welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 84, like 1984, but maybe more like a more hopeful for humanity. We'll find out. Anyway, I'm Patrick, I'm joined by Saif, say hi.
Yeah, hello.
And who we lovingly refer to as the George Orwell of the podcast, Steve, say hi.
Telling me what to do, this is literally 1984.
Go cry about it to Big Brother. How have you guys been?
I've been.
Are we all watching the Women's FIFA World Cup?
Up the fucking Matildas, yeah. We flogged Canada and we'll do it again. 4-0. Get fucked, Canada. Eat shit. Thoughts, Pat?
Yeah, not good. I had several cousins message me.
Yeah. Man, yeah. They got... I didn't think they could show fucking that bad on public TV, but they did.
I didn't watch Sports Ball because I don't know how it happened, but the Final Fantasy 16 spoiler cast went for 7 hours.
So you're saying... I can't even, I'm not even going to make the joke that I was going to make because that itself is fucking... Jesus Christ, Seth.
It's 5 hours of story summary and discussion and then 2 hours of the rest of the game discussion.
So what'd you do? Just talk about it's fine. Look, whatever. It wasn't my time. I didn't do anything. 7 hours. Holy shit, man. Time is a valuable resource, and you did it wanking off a game that's like,
God.
Jesus. So
is this the sort of thing that you decided to record? You know, after dinner, the sort of usual podcast recording hour, and then by like hour 4, you're like, you know what? Why don't we just pick this up? Why don't we just pick this up tomorrow?
No, it was all in one go. But for me, we started at like 11 a.m. So. I was okay. I just skipped lunch, but I feel really bad for Trin, her brother, and my friend Dee Dee, who are all in American time zones, and they had to stay up late for it. We were going to try and make an exit strategy at one point, and then it just kept going, and we're like, well, fuck it, we'll just keep going.
Did you have you know what? Let's talk offline about the foolish mistakes you fell into.
Let's not.
Okay. Did you have an agenda or something, or did you just talk?
The agenda was essentially just getting all the major story beats down and talking about what we thought of those story beats and just a sequence of events. And then when the filler sections of the game came up, we had many thoughts about pacing issues and filler sections.
And did you use some of the 7 hours to fucking rewrite the story yourself?
No. So what they did is they had problems with pacing issues. So to show the viewer or the audience listener at home, they created their own filler and pacing issues. Yeah,
I can't believe they actually roleplayed it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be smart about this. I'm going to put timestamps into that video and I'm splitting it up into chunks.
Bravo. Who's the director of Breaking Bad? You know what? The joke's gone. Leave me alone. Yeah, but it's wild. We're not going to talk about the Bledisloe Cup though, are we, Pat?
I mean, only if you want to talk about the shit. I was going to make the joke the second biggest fucking on TV after your joke, but no, we flogged you way harder. I
was actually at the game, the MCG. I went to get drinks at 10 minutes to halftime, and when it was I think the Wallabies are up. I was in that drinks line for half an hour, to the point where my partner came looking for me, thinking that I died or something.
You tried to drown yourself in the bathroom after watching how terrible the Wallabies played?
Well, I couldn't watch it. It was 7-5, and I'm like, yeah, cool, I'll just get a couple of beverages before halftime. I'm in the line for fucking half an hour. Halftime comes and goes, 10 minutes into the fucking game, and I come back, I sit down, it's 19-7. I'm like, whoa, what happened here? Oh, dumb game.
Can't believe that you managed to sit down just in time to see the All Blacks score the second half of the number of points they got.
That's pretty much what it was. Yeah. Well, it was a good game. It's all in good fun.
Would you? Okay, so real talk though. That game was over in 80 minutes. Do you think if it had gone for another 6 hours, it would have been even better? Or are you glad that it finished at 80 minutes?
I'm glad it finished at 80 minutes. I do not want to imagine the scoreline.
But what if there were pacing issues in the video game?
Then I guess we'd have to do what we got to do, don't we?
Yeah, I guess we do. And speaking of things we got to do, why don't we go to Around the Lounge? So other than talking for 7 hours, that's...
Did it just click that it was 7 hours?
No.
He stumbled over his words.
I was aware of it. It's taking a while to really sink. The longest that we've gone for, I think, is 3. And I've wanted to just hang up.
I think we've gone
just
for 3.5
outside.
to 4 at maximum.
See, and
two.
my brain's already repressed that. So the idea of going for 7, I cannot fathom.
It was a mission, but it was a fun mission. Anyway, as you can
imagine-
guess by that taking up 7 hours of my weekend, I did nothing else. It was all prepare for the spoiler cast, do the spoiler cast.
That's like a work day.
This is why I asked to be paid.
Well, we went on the spoiler cast.
It's nothing like a work day, actually, now that I think about it. Like, maybe a volunteer out of the kindness of your heart type shift, and for that we thank you.
If it was one more hour, it would have actually been a work day without a lunch break.
Without a lunch break.
Surely you guys took breaks.
No, we didn't. We went straight.
I straight up don't believe you. I straight up don't believe you.
I
don't
can
even think
send
I
you
could
the
talk.
audio recording of it. It's just 7 hours straight of us talking about the game.
Fucking hell. What did you do? If you need to go to the bathroom, just piss yourself?
No. If anyone needed to go to the toilet, they just silently excuse themselves and go while everyone else talked about something else.
Holy sh! You know what? Every week we stray further and further from God. First it was the fucking CD player that you can't play.
I can
so
actually.
CDs,
I just wanted to make you mad by saying I can't. I can't burn it on my PC. That's all.
Well, could you? Okay, is there a CD player in your room right now?
There is.
Is it the PS5?
It is the PS3 because the PS5 can't play CDs.
Fuck! I thought I was going to get you with that one. Utterly cringe. Utterly cringe. So you can't even put it to your, I don't know, Windows movie player or whatever and have it on the go. Whatever. What do I care? Man, I'm frustrated.
If you didn't care, you wouldn't be frustrated.
I'm going to go for an angry dad walk.
Not until we're done. Anyway, what have you guys been up to this week?
Yeah, you may be an angry and frustrated Steve, but what did you get up to this week?
I've actually been playing an early access game called The Wandering Village. It's a pretty much city building, but you're on the back of a big turtle. Pretty neat.
Okay.
Did you want me to expand more?
No. That's enough. I'm just thinking behold the duality of man. 7 hours discussion of Final Fantasy 16, and you're on the back of a turtle. It's pretty sweet. No follow up.
That's it.
Does what
it's
it
true.
says on
That's what the
the
game
tin.
is.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
It's on Game Pass.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Now we're getting everybody salivating.
Now this is more up Steven's alley.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the draw was. Now it makes sense. Now it checks out.
Man, the turtle's sort of green. It's not really a turtle. It's called an onbu. Anyway, I'll get into that later. What have you been up to, Pat?
I have played and finished Remnant 2, which
much faster than God of War Ragnarok, by the way.
Much faster. And it's one of the few times when a game has come out and it's actually fairly soon after it's out that I can talk about it in the review sense, with the boys and not wait a year to eventually get around to playing it. So I'll talk about that. And I know that you said that it was basically all spoiler cast, but anything else you wanna hit on, Saif, or was that really all that you did this week?
I think I watched a movie at some point, but it's already left my memory of what movie it was.
Must have been a good movie.
Was it Knack 2?
That's a video game.
No, I'd remember if it was Knack 2.
Tell me how it plays, Steve. It doesn't. That's right. It's a movie.
I haven't played it. I don't know. It's a PlayStation game. Exclusive game, which all you PlayStation owners
you own a PS4, don't you?
Exclusives are bad. Where? By the way, all of our games are exclusive. Fucking idiot. God, I hate PlayStation owners so much. I've only got a PS4, but that's different.
Wow. Truly one of the most misguided generations. Right, well, why don't you tell me about the turtle, which is actually slightly green and called an onbu, or whatever the fuck you said to try and tease the Wandering Village, Steve.
Wonderful. So the Wandering Village
and I mean, tell me specifically, don't tell Seth. I feel like if he hears about another game, we're going to get another 7-hour spoiler cast.
Hang on.
No, I'm going to save that for the next Final Fantasy 14 expansion.
Yeah, we'll do it on your own time, not on our time.
No, I refuse. I'll drag you guys into it.
I will simply leave the call. Literally 1984. So anyway,
I know where you live.
Talking.
I know where you're moving to. I will lock you into the room for it.
Good.
There will be Krispy Kreme.
I usually. Oh, hang on, let him crisp.
Suddenly I'm back on board.
Hang on, let him crisp. Oh yeah, no. Anyway, so the Wandering Village is a early access game that has recently come to the Xbox. I think it came out sort of last year. Well, come out's always a hard word when you talk about early access. Well, the Xbox calls it fucking game preview, but game preview just seems a bit fucking wanky. So it's the basic concept is that the world has been like filled with poison or something, and to sort of escape the poisonous world, your tribe or village or what have you has found an ancient being called an onbu, which is essentially a big walking dinosaur turtle thing that's got like a big shell on its back, and you can create your own village. And the idea is it's just a city builder. And it does create an interesting concept right from the start. There is sort of a tutorial mode, and it sort of does walk you through. That's like, well, this is the space you've got. You got to use it. And it's so with city builders, and I'm not sure how much experience you guys have with city builders. It's like things like Banished or City Skylines or even Frostpunk. Yeah, Frostpunk and all that type of stuff. Whereas this is sort of different from those. It's like the growth you already have from the start is limited because you've only got a certain amount of space on the turtle. And there's a certain amount of trees on the turtle that you can use to cut down to make wood. There's a certain amount of rocks that are in the onbu that you can use to make stone. So your resources at the start are pretty much not few and far between. They are limited. And you can, as you sort of research new, because of course this has like a research sort of element to it to get more upgrades and stuff. And you can sort of get like expeditions that go out into the world to collect like those types of materials. But until you do that, you are quite, I don't want to say limited because that's like not the right word, but you're restricted in the total amount you could have from the start. And you do have to balance like, oh, do I want to cut down all these trees or do I want to actually build stuff? So it is kind of like a pretty cool way of, it's a balancing act. It's imagine if you've got like a couple of plates spinning and you've got to do that. There's also a relationship type of thing with the onbu. Like there's these, for lack of a better word, these bigger boulders that are sort of, they're onbu spikes if I'm remembering correctly. And if you harvest those spikes for stone, the onbu is going to lose trust in you. And if you sort of lose enough trust with the onbu, it'll do like a shaking animation, and the shaking animation will break a bunch of your buildings. But if you sort of leave those bigger spikes and just collect the little stones, like it does take a lot more time, but you don't ruin the relationship with your onbu. And there is a type of relationship aspect with that onbu, as in you can grow mushrooms to turn into food, and then you pretty much essentially build a feeding trebuchet, so you can feed the onbu when it's hungry. You can build a horn blower, so you can give it instructions, whether that's like to lay down and sleep or to eat or to run faster or to walk slower, all that kind of stuff. So it is pretty different in terms of like city builders. And I do sort of like that different aspect. Like you can't just sort of hoard all the resources as fast as you can, because hoarding all the resources will make it pretty hard for you sort of late game because you've run out of stuff. But then at the same time, if you hoard the bigger resources now, you'll ruin the relationship with the onbu, and it's going to be harder to get that relationship. It can be a bit hard sort of to gauge that relationship and the limits of all that kind of stuff, because there is no, the right word here, there's no indicator of if the onbu trusts you or not, apart from like the actions it does. And I can't tell if that's intentional or not. It feels like it's because you've got three main statuses of the onbu. There's maybe status isn't the right word. You can track three levels of the onbu, and there's how tired it is, how hungry it is, and how healthy it is. But there's no indicator for relationship or trust or something. So it feels like it's sort of missing in that kind of aspect. And I appreciate that it is an early access game, and I've joined the Discord and I've sort of seeing what's going on. And it sort of seems like a bunch.
Have you given any feedback in the Discord?
Not yet. I haven't played it. I've only played it for probably about 6 or so hours. I probably will play. I get the feeling though, and I'm getting to the end of all the stuff that I can do with it. So as you go on with this onbu, you go into different sort of biomes. Like there's a desert biome, ocean biome, and all of those come with their own sort of challenges. but it is pretty simple in the way that if you stockpile enough food, if you stockpile enough water, you can sort of get through those challenging parts, wait it out, you'll get through those challenging parts, and then just the cycle repeats. And then there is also a sort of aspect to it, like if you'll find other wanderers and you can pick them up, and that sort of adds to your pool of amount of villages you've got. Like there's no organic growth. It's like, let's say you start with 10, like they're not going to have babies and stuff for whatever reason. You have to find them. And that's pretty cool. I really like that. But then like it gets to a certain point. So after about like, you play the tutorial, you sort of know what's going on. And you're like, all right, cool. I'll play like so this tutorial, and I played on the novice difficulty because I thought it does say it's going to be easy. And I found it like ridiculously easy. And then maybe this is just sort of, I'm not sure if a challenge is the right word, but it's just sort of number go up mentality, where it's like, okay, I've got to build this building. Okay, now that I've got this building, I can do glass. Now that I've got glass, I can get like a seawater evaporator. Now that I've got a seawater evaporator, I've got salt. Now that I've got salt, I can make like cakes and shit. And it does seem like it's a small linear progression. And I probably take the point that because I set it on novice, I'm not really getting challenged. And it's just more of like, okay, just waiting for things to do. Yeah, but it is still like a really good game. And I think the problem with me playing it the way that I have on novice, I have come into it with a whole bunch of expectations on what I want the game to do and to challenge me with. But because I'm playing it on that easier difficulty, I've kind of shafted myself. So I'm definitely probably very soon going to play I think it's Adept is the next one up. So I'm going to have to play that, see what it's like. But it does say in like the further difficulties, all they do is sort of really is they restrict the amount of resources or increase the amount of like random weather events, I'm pretty sure. And there are, after a couple of hours, you unlock things called hostile meters or something. And when you start a new world or new onbu or whatever you want to call it, you can trigger it to be like, okay, so your villagers move half as fast, or your onbu takes twice as long to trust you, or there's all these type of measures like that. And it doesn't seem like it's just playing with the RNG a bit. Like I don't really see like what the point of this game is trying to be. It's like, okay, cool, I'm trying to tame the back of this onbu and get my villagers to survive. Like I'm not like, and maybe that's sort of what it is. But I think because what I came into this thinking that I'd be able to get like an army of these onbu with all these different cities on each of them, it's just quite limited in its scope. And while that is refreshing in some aspects, I'm just not sure that like it's using the game's fullest potential. And that's probably where I'm landing with it. Like it is fantastic. It is very polished. The art style is charming. Like there's like three views. You've got like a world view, you've got onbu view, and you've got like the villager view. And the villager view is like it's 2.5D, and the onbu view is like 3D, and it looks gorgeous. But it's just like the gameplay is just cool. Just this, or I'm waiting, or I'm doing something else. Like there's no like different aspects. And it is an early access. I'll say it once again, early access game. Completely appreciate that. But this game is not a complex game. It's very easy to find the critical path of what you need to build first, what order you need to build it in, what resources you need to stockpile, because there's only a handful of resources to start off with. And even if you sort of do expand a bit faster than what you should do, the game doesn't really punish you for that. Like it probably does punish you in the later difficulties, but I don't really how it could really punish you. Like you just get a bunch of villagers hungry, and then that's kind of it. Like the villagers will die eventually, but it just doesn't seem. There's just no like. If you fuck up, it's either you can just have to wait it out, or it'll just resolve itself eventually. And but I am having a very good time with this game. Any questions, fellas?
Yeah, I may have missed it if you said so earlier, but do you know how long it's been in early access for?
I don't know that. I think it has been at least a year, Steam Early Access. Okay,
yeah, because I was just curious because you're saying maybe it feels a little like it's early access, but still feels a little like underbaked, kind of. Like there's some things that you're confused about in that sort of sense. And I was thinking, like, if it's still pretty recent, then that would explain a lot. And I think a year for early access still gives it some leeway for feeling that way.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Hades started taking shape until like a year before it came out, and that was in early access for like 2 years.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm in the Discord. So the 15th of September was when it released into Steam Early Access. So it has been a year, and I'll give it. This game is very, very polished. Like I'll give it that. It knows what it wants to be, but it can be a lot more. And I think that the point I'm trying to make here is that
it feels like what they have is polished, but it's not feature dense yet.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's fine. I'm not saying that's bad or it's really in essence it's not even a negative point. It is just this game is very simple. If you're coming into it thinking it's going to be like maybe not a silly City Skylines, but like a Banished or a Frostpunk, it's not this game. It is a charming, semi-small city builder with relatively minor consequences. And I'm still rocking it. I'm really enjoying it. The Onbu has a lot of charm to it. Like he makes noises. Unfortunately, like because you can take his because when the Onbu defecates, you can take that to make compost and biogas. Unfortunately, it doesn't show that animation. I couldn't believe why they would do that. But when he's in like an ocean biome, you can see that he's swimming and he's not walking. When you feed him in the trebuchet, he like turns around and like catches it in his mouth. The 2.5D for the villagers looks really cool. It's very, very nice, but it's just not complicated. And that's fine. And that is what it is.
You know what's funny? The way what you're describing is almost bar for bar how I described Cult of the Lamb, which I actually haven't gone back and played since they did I think they did a big free update, or maybe it was DLC, I forget which, but the same sort of thing of like, you've got the sort of city building mechanics and it's very polished, but what I wanted was more depth to the combat, but what the game gave me was more depth to the city building. So slightly different issue, but a similar kind of, I could see what it was trying to do and I appreciate what it was trying to do, but I personally wish it did more of blank.
Yeah. And I think that's sort of I'm not sure if hiccup is the right word, but yeah, I can just see the potential for this game. I can see what it's trying to be.
Yeah.
And I can sort of see a couple of things. Like there was a trading mechanic with other Onbus. If there was a way to somehow get Onbus to interact a bit more with your village, whether that's sort of like, I don't know, if you do like a song or something, you could see the Onbu dance, or it could give
because
you
it's still early access. Have you floated the idea of doing a Game Pass with multiplayer seasons?
Oh, hang on then. You might be on something there.
Like Onbu combat, perhaps?
Yeah. No, so the game should be free to play and should have a battle pass, a premium battle pass, and the super premium battle pass.
No, you know what it needs more than all of that? To announce that it's coming to mobile, and then the rest of it's guaranteed.
Yuck. Yuck.
So I have an actual real question.
Okay, well that's hurtful.
So do you see yourself coming back to this when there's like another major update to see what they add, what's changed, and possibly give more feedback whenever those happen?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm thinking. So I'm sort of like at a crossroads. I'm thinking of going back, starting another play at like a harder difficulty, or I'm thinking of letting them cook it for about 3 or 4 months and then sort of jumping back in. And then seeing what other updates. Like the big thing with it dropping on Game Pass was it came with this big ocean update. And the ocean update is like the ocean biome. And then when you're in the water, you can like fish and take out seawater. And it's got its own sort of complications and stuff. But maybe I do sort of want to finish off in quotation marks my novice playthrough, because there's still a couple of things I've got to research, and I just want to see if it changes depending on what I research, all that type of thing. It depends if I hit a certain level of people in the city, does something change or something? So I might play through that maybe an hour or two, but I think I am leaning more towards letting them cook for 3 or 4 months, seeing the next update, maybe even 6 months, maybe even 12 months. But definitely see myself coming back to this. And I think that is a very, very positive thing to see. Do I dare say that I'm thinking of purchasing this game just to support the devs and stuff? Yeah, of course I'm thinking of it.
Are you going to follow through? Well, no, because the Turkish Game Pass prices are too good.
Yeah, I was about to make that exact same joke. I hate you.
Yeah. Well, okay, so the alternative is that they might fully release this game and then take it off Game Pass. And then I'm literally, well, you have to buy it now, Steve. Yeah, but the game's fantastic. It's out on Steam and Xbox. I could definitely see this becoming a Switch release as well, and maybe a PlayStation release. But those are obviously like further down the line. I'm also hesitant to give this a score out of 10 because they are still letting them cook. And I think the problems that I have with this game is just because I can see the potential and I can see what I would think would make this better because it is an early access. You know what? I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
And it can only go up or down from here. It's not going to stay the same. It has to move one direction.
Oh, well, the updates. Yeah, you're right there. Like, I don't see them putting an update out that fucking shits the bed. But then at the same time, if they do updates that don't resonate with me, it'd still be an 8. But for what it is at the moment, very, very good. But it is early access. So yeah, don't come into this game thinking you are getting a full, complete picture, because it does sort of feel you get to a certain state, like after playing for a couple of hours, and it's like, okay, now what? What's going to change? It's like, okay, I've seen every biome. Well, now what? Yeah, and the late game stuff to research requires knowledge, and to get knowledge, you got to like explore these. I say explore, but it's just like a menu shrines, and late game stuff costs 10 knowledge, but you'll only get 3 knowledge from a shrine, and then it sort of becomes like, okay, I'm just waiting to see a shrine. Nothing's really happening. Just wait. That can kind of be a bit frustrating as well. Maybe a knowledge changer. Yeah, but no, it's cool. I read it.
Interesting. Well, big turtle, good. Well, thank you for that, Steve. I guess we touch on what everyone's been waiting for. Remnant 2. So, Remnant 2. First of all, have either of you either heard of Remnant 2 or perhaps played Remnant 1 from the Ashes?
I haven't played it. I played the first one, but I've had a friend that's been very positive about Remnant 2 lately on a Discord server. I
have also heard is it? I heard Remnant 1 was like just first-person Dark Souls. Is that true?
I haven't played the first one. I'm just wondering for context if you guys have. I think both games are third person. I can't imagine them going first person to third person, but very Dark Souls, I guess. So, where do I begin with this? So Remnant 2 released in the last sort of 10 days or so, right at the end of July, by Gunfire Games. A smash hit sequel to the first game, Remnant from the Ashes, which came out in 2019, I think. And everyone has loved this game. It passed a couple 100,000 concurrent players, which is funny because if we do Steamcharts, it's already kicking the ass of a few other games that have come out recently. And every reviewer is just gushing positivity, not only in a great game as its own right, but as a perfect sequel, or like everything that the sequel needed to be to follow up Remnant 1. So that's why this review is going to be kind of weird when I say I didn't really understand the game, and I played it for 20 hours.
Huh?
Yeah, it's weird. So I got to the end of Ragnarok last week, right? And I before me was a choice. On one hand, Final Fantasy 16. Saif, calm down. On the other,
I can already feel the urge to tell you made the wrong choice.
On the other, every reviewer said this game is a fantastic game for all these reasons, and if you like games like these, and then lists out a bunch of games that I really enjoy playing, like aspects of Hades, aspects of Dark Souls, aspects of Borderlands, like just all the sorts of archetypal games that are massive, massive time sinks for me, then this game is not only good enough to be amongst them, but is good enough to be in the top whatever list for each of the different sorts of games. And here I'm thinking, holy shit, that might be some of the highest praise for a game that I otherwise hadn't really heard of. And so I went and bought it and played it. And so it's a third person, I think you'd call it an adventure survival game. It's very procedurally generated, and we'll get into that. But at its core, you are playing a character trying to just advance through a series of worlds in service of a story, where the main mechanics are the grind for better gear, upgrade your build, get like a real sort of specific build, and play it that way. Which is why when I played it, the first sort of hour, it was sort of very tutorialized. And like, okay, yeah, I'm getting into it, I see it. And then it introduces you to the first world, and the first world's like, oh, interesting, this is a cool biome, I enjoy this, that sort of thing. And then I just didn't really, I was expecting to hit an aha moment. I was expecting to hit you've just cleared the Anjanath and Monster Hunter world, now you can do whatever you want because you've made it through the wall. And now continue the story if you want, grind if you want, do all the stuff if you want. All in service of seeing something at the end of the tunnel and leveling up. And so the game never gave that to me. But I still wanted to keep playing it. And I don't know if I wanted to keep playing it because I was still waiting for the aha moment to come, or if there was a part of me that was quite enjoying what I was doing. And so it's really weird because like people are saying, if you like Warframe, you will love this game. If you like Hades, you will love this game. If you like, not necessarily Borderlands, but the sort of, not looter shooter, but kind of the looter Diablo-y, get lots of gear, level up type thing, you will love this game. Pretty much every tier list of games, people were like, you will love this, you will love this. This is the game for you, you'll love this. And so here's me going, is there something wrong with me? Like, I like all of these games that are the comparison, but I'm not gelling with what the game is offering me. And the dumbest part of all of it, I finally understood when I was at the final boss, what the draw of the game was. And now, holy shit, do I enjoy it. It took me 20 hours to figure out what the game is.
I kind of love the idea of the final boss being the Anjanath moment.
It kind of is. It's really interesting. The whole thing. So I imagine your question, Steve, is what is it that I wasn't vibing with the game, right?
No, I was trying to get to the why'd you buy this game?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I had every reason to believe that so much of the community feedback said that this game was the perfect game for me, that I went, yep, I will put some of my hard-earned dollaritos towards this. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Buy it and download it and play it.
Yeah, it's not like we have it's not like Steam has Game Pass or anything, so we can't just get games for free. Sometimes we have to pay.
Oh god, right. I wouldn't be able to get this on Steam. No, I bought this on PS5 because my computer would not run this.
Oh really? Is it a pretty game? Is it good? Like, is it technical? Like, what are we?
It is a very pretty game. So I'm playing this on PS5. So my like I don't play a lot of games on PS5 because I've had my PC for ages. So this is already a very pretty game, and I say that in that my computer would not be able to run it. I know it. It's getting to the end of its life, and I don't really want to upgrade it because I have a PS5. So it is a very pretty game, and holy shit, the final boss fight would wreck my computer. Like, actually just set it on fire, push it off a cliff, see you later. I really want to talk about, because here's the dumbest part, right? The final boss was such a big selling point to me for why I love this game that I want to talk about it, but talking about it also spoils how good the final boss fight is. So, the choice is in your guys' court. If you're thinking about getting this game, I'd understand if we're wanting to do spoiler free. If we just want to see what happens, because I will say the final boss is not to do with the story. It's just a very cool fight. It is it is one of the coolest fights I have played in a video game, period. Yeah. That is why I'm so hyped for it.
Yeah,
not because it's some big payoff.
I was about to say, I was about to say I'd prefer the spoiler-free version, because when it comes to that sort of thing where it's like the fight itself is really cool, and I'm already starting to lean towards I want to check this out at some point, and yeah, I just prefer to not hear about it.
Absolutely fair, because yeah, I'll give you the spoiler-free take.
I mean, just a general idea that you're like the final boss got you really excited is like, I think that's enough of a selling point for me in itself.
Yeah. So
I still want to know, like, why? Like, was it the mechanics behind it that made the boss exciting? Was it obviously didn't contribute to the story? So like, maybe we take this offline. Maybe we do our 7-hour spoiler cast, Pat.
Where it's just me talking about the boss fight. So I'll give you the spark notes, so that way you can ace the English exam when this comes up on the test on Friday. I wasn't vibing with the mechanics because the first world punished how I wanted to play the game, in that it would spawn enemies around me rather than kind of going through a corridor, and it made it annoying because the Souls-like elements of that the game is hard, and so it felt like my progress was grinding to a halt because, I probably should have said this up front. I played this entire thing solo, and I think that was the biggest mistake I made.
Oh, hands down. Does it encourage co-op?
It very much encourages co-op.
Okay.
You cannot pause the game.
Yuck. Yuckity yuckity yuck. Oh, it's sort of like a Souls-like. I guess.
Basically every Souls game already does that.
Yeah. Even if you're playing solo and no one can join you, you cannot pause the game. I don't know if there's, because it's a PS5, I don't know if you can do the weird, like, jump back to home on the game bar switch, and that kind of, like, freezes the game. Maybe, I don't know.
It probably doesn't like it. Like, if you probably did that, the game probably crashes.
Doesn't. I didn't really try messing with that so much, but, so the point is, it's a game that encourages co-op, and I'm like, no, I enjoy enough of the games like this in solo. This game should be fine for me solo. And the problem is there's so much of the Souls-like elements that made progress really hard. And so when I felt like progress was slowing down, it felt in some ways like I was punishing myself doubly because I was just in solo, and I just assume, because I still haven't played in multiplayer, but I assume the game is just easier with more people, that I was just not, I was not really feeling it. Like, even if you have a bad run on Monster Hunter, say, you still can kind of, like, grinding is grinding, right? Whereas here, so much of the grind is tied to progress through a level rather than how you go in a fight, that if you die and your progress resets back to the previous checkpoint, you still keep resources and things, but you have to go through all of the enemies again to continually progress through the next checkpoint and the next checkpoint. It's a little hard to describe just over audio without really showing, but it's kind of like if you picture a big ass corridor, and you have to make it through all of the parts of the corridor to get to the end. The levels are actually fairly open, but just for argument's sake, think of it like a corridor. And so the issue for me is that the corridors are filled with enemies. Enemies can randomly spawn behind you, at least in the first world. It's less of a problem on later worlds.
Jesus Christ, get bugged.
It's not that it's random. I think they are fixed spawns. It's more just they don't spawn immediately, and so I died so many times to shit that I would look in a corner and it's clear, and then I'd sit in the corner like with my back to it, shooting other things, and then I'd just get smacked from the back and killed. And it's just like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, that seems unfair and cheap.
A little bit, but the thing is, that's very unlikely to happen, or at least it's very unlikely to end progress like that if I had another player, or if I was playing multiplayer.
What's what you're doing? Just standing back to back the entire time, just going in circles, shooting everything. I don't know. It seems like one of those things. It's cheap, and then like, oh, okay, they can spawn behind me, and then you're always checking your back, and there's nothing there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so this I'm trying to think of the best. Okay, yeah. So that's the way the first level worked, and then each level is its own biome, and then the levels made more sense in terms of like enemies didn't randomly do that. They randomly did that less, or they did that in more expected ways later on. So that evened out. The equipment, you have 4 ring slots, which are just random little statty, upgradey, perky type jobs. Armor, which is armor is armor. It's like every other game. You have weights, so think of it like the Souls thing of the heavier the armor, the higher the weight, the slower you roll, that sort of thing.
Wait, hang on. Whoa, there are iframes in this?
There are iframes.
Very funny.
Yep.
Wait, hang on. Do the enemies have guns?
Some have ranged attacks, but there's only a couple enemy types that actually have like a projectile weapon.
Okay. Right. No, I think like you're versing other humans that have guns, trying to calm the iframes through it.
Not that sort of thing. Not that sort of thing. So there's an enemy type which is like an elf, and like some elves have like crossbows and stuff. And so in that sense, yeah, they have guns, but they're not like AKs or anything. In terms of your equipment, you got the armor, you got the 4 rings, and then you have a melee weapon, a secondary weapon, and a primary weapon. And so playing on PS5, all of them are the same attack button. If you're not looking down scope and you attack, you use melee. If you are looking down a scope, it's triangle to swap between primary and secondary. So combat is fairly... there's nothing crazy combat-wise, which is good and bad. Good in that very easy to understand and use. Kind of bad in that I was sort of expecting there to be like combos or like more of a kind of skill cap to the combat system, whereas it's more like do an attack and then roll, or do an attack and then do the same attack again type thing. So the final thing is the class system, which is actually quite cool. There's classes and there's traits. Traits are just like permanent like skill points essentially that you just put into a particular thing. Like you can just get higher max health with each stat point. It makes sense, that sort of thing. And so like, there'd be like increased health, increased stamina, increased like skill cooldown, increased AoE, reduced recoil, the usual stuff. Again, nothing too outlandish. But the classes themselves play quite differently. The class that I chose is called Challenger. Think of it like a tank sort of class, because I realized I was going to play it solo, where the perk is, so it's kind of hard to describe exactly how classes work, but you start at level 1. You can, just through XP, get to level 10. During your level up, you have access to a class skill, which you can use kind of like a spell, and you can unlock 3 of them, but you can only have 1 active, if you know what I mean. So it's like level 1, you unlock a class skill. Level 4, you unlock a class skill. Level, I think, it might be like 1, 5, and 9, or 1, 5, and 10 for the class skills. And then there's also perks, like 4 passive perks that you just periodically unlock, and they're just active. And then there's other few things which I won't go into details on, but like weapon mods and a couple other sort of bits and pieces, and a health flask, like any other Souls game. So those are the elements you're playing with. I'm trying to sort of move past this because this isn't really the interesting point for me.
Speak for yourself. I'm finding it interesting.
Fine, but what I'm saying is it's kind of hard to describe, other than going through all of the mechanics. The idea of what makes up a build. A build is made up of your class, your primary, secondary, melee weapons, mods that you have on the primary, secondary, melee weapons, and mutations which you can have on the primary, secondary, melee weapons, which is just an alternate fire mode. So like I was using a shotgun because I was the close range class, and my alternate fire for most of the game was just a grenade, effectively, just like AoE damage. Worked out quite well. And then that's basically it. So the cool parts, after a certain point, you can get a second class. And so then you can dual class through a lot of the game. And so I went shotgun as primary, or like close range as primary, and then animal handler as secondary. So I had a dog companion through me for the whole game, basically playing I Am Legend.
Oh man, that sounds fun, bro.
Which actually worked out kind of well. And so that was a turning point. So up until that point, it was just me playing solo, just with a shotgun. And there were bits of it that were fun. Definitely bits of it that were fun. But once I got a dog companion, just to tank some of it, game became a lot better. Then it was like, all right, now I'm getting to the rhythm of things. Still not vibing 100% because it's kind of like a pound for pound. I think I would have had more fun in like Monster Hunter World for the same amount of hours I put in than this game. But the game's not bad. It just wasn't the mind-blowing 10 out of 10s across the board that everyone was giving it for me. And so the Spark Notes go, Finally got over my lack of progression by playing solo, went through a ton of boss fights, which are all very cool, got to the final boss fight, and took several runs at it, which, without giving away any spoilers, there's a character in the game that goes, "Are you sure you're ready for the final boss fight?" And I'm like, "Yep." Walked in there, died immediately, respawned at the checkpoint behind that character, and just walked past the character, did the like salute of like, "We'll get him." Walked in, died immediately, just did that for like 10 times, just walking past the character that's like, "Good luck." Which was just funny to me. Finally got through, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that the boss fight is multi-phase, because it's like a Souls game.
Yeah. Taylor's all this time. All bosses must have 3 phases now.
But getting through the first phase, so it wasn't even that the boss fight changed my mind on the game. It's as soon as the second phase started. And once the second phase started, I'm like, oh shit, now we gaming. And then it's not, and then there's another point after that, I won't give it away, where I went, oh shit, now we gaming. And now I'm a massive fan of Remnant 2. That's all I'll say about the final boss fight.
Is it the same sort of feeling you get when you beat down Hades and then he refills his health bar for the second phase and gets more serious?
It is a lot like that. This one takes that concept to another level.
Oh, okay.
That's the type of shit you love to see. Also, I've been hanging on to this for like 2 minutes now. If you do indeed move on to Final Fantasy 16 next, it's going to be
fucking quit.
Hold on. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Let me finish. It's going to be really funny that you've played essentially 2.5 games in a row that give you a dog companion.
Yeah. What was funny was, well, technically 3. Wait, is the half Atreus?
Yeah. The half is Atreus.
Yeah. Based.
Okay, that's funny.
What was funny was I was wanting it to be a brain turn off Unga Bunga grind sort of game, because that's what the game was sold to me as. And so when I get walled on a boss fight and spend 30 minutes just slamming my head through it, like, I swear I left the shit behind when I finished like Queen Valkyrie and King Berserker and Ragnarok. What am I doing? why am I back in the hot seat, putting myself through misery again? So that's the boss fight stuff. And so it's funny that I've been speaking about this for 20 minutes, but that was the story of how I got to the final boss fight. And the now we gaming part made me more excited for what comes next. And what comes next is the main gameplay loop of the game, which is funny because it's after you finish the game, but the whole shtick around what you do in Remnant 2, you have a campaign slot and you have an adventure mode slot. What is the difference? When you start the game, you select a campaign difficulty. I picked the "I'm a baby, please don't hurt me" because I knew I was playing solo. It was still enough of a challenge the first run through. Holy shit. But at any point, and I mean this legitimately, at any point, you can just re-roll the campaign and change the difficulty. So that, you're going to be like, what the fuck?
Wait, so you start from the beginning?
You would start from the beginning. Your character progress is persisted. Everything about your character is persisted. Just the story progress is reset. The other slot is adventure. And once you finish a world, you unlock adventure mode for that world. And what that is it is a specific slot. Think about it as a slot where you can say, I want to replay this particular world. And so adventure mode goes, yep, we'll reset the progress for that world for this slot. So if you're in campaign and you've finished, let's say, world 2, you can go anywhere in world 2. Totally fine. But if you're in the hub world and you go, I want to play adventure mode for world 2, you switch your slot from campaign to adventure mode, and it goes, yep, cool. What difficulty do you want to play adventure mode on? Pick the difficulty, done. And it resets your progress and you start again for world 2. So at any point you can go back to the campaign and go anywhere in world 2 again, but if you're in adventure mode, you have to play through the world 2 again. So not super easy to explain, but think of it as 2 different progressions. One of them is the overall campaign, one of them is specifically about a world. So
yeah, it's kind of like a you got your main campaign save file, and then you got like a somewhat limited stage replay save file that's just like go use this file to replay a stage at any point sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so the reason why I am kicking myself a little bit on hitting that now we game in stage too late, is that I'd unlocked all of the worlds that I could have played in adventure mode. I only played through the first world again in adventure mode because I needed to grind to level up before the final boss. I should have mentioned that almost everything in the game... No, not almost everything in the game. A few things in the game you can level up. So you can level up weapons to particular levels depending on their type. You can level up the perks to level 10 depending, like in some cases. So there's a lot of flexibility in that sort of stuff. So I just needed to level up to get resources to upgrade my guns for the final boss because I just wasn't doing enough damage because the build that I had at the end of the game wasn't super good for the final boss. So had to rejig a few things and needed extra resources. Anyway, one of the now we game in moments, the story is mid for me. Not a bad story, just not super memorable. Cool music, like really cool soundtrack through most of the game, but just the story beats themselves were quite like it's very sort of fantasy, like sort of like fantastical. What's the word I'm looking for? Like melodramatic. Like everything is like, oh, we got to save the world. You know what I mean? And it's like it's fine. Like I buy into it, but it's not crazy. I'm not going to remember this game for its story, and that is also clear from a lot of the reviews. So why do I bring that up? Because the now we game in moment, I drop into World 1. World 1 is a kind of foresty tile set and this is where I'm going to talk about the proc gen, and this is sort of the last big thing that I want to hit. When I first played through the campaign, first tile set, spoke to an NPC. Okay, interesting. That's cool. I guess my interpretation of proc gen, of how the game did gen, was kind of like Hades, of the first part of the area and the last part of the area are the same, and it just proc gen stuff in the middle. That sort of thing. Nothing, like, glad that it's in there, bit of variety, but nothing too groundbreaking. So walked in there, NPC is like, yo, I'm an NPC. I'm like, oh, sick. Here we go. First NPC discussion, that sort of thing. Cool. When I went back and rerolled adventure mode, I got the same NPC on the first tile set for the first world. So I went, oh, okay, cool. I must be right in that here we are. The first tile set and the last tile set of this world will be the same. And so played through the first tile set, went to the next part of World 1, and then I hit a boss fight that I did not hit at all during the campaign. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. I've never done this boss fight before. This is interesting, and in a completely different sort of setting, and it's its own thing. Awesome. Went through, that was basically the only change between World 1 and Adventure Mode 1 when I played through it. Now that I beat the game, I've reset the campaign. I'm now on a higher difficulty because I want more stuff. And I load into World 1, and it's completely different. Like, it's still a forest tile set, but I don't recognize any part of this in terms of how it was proc-gened. Different enemies, different area, different way to navigate. Still World 1. It's definitely still World 1. Walk into the next area, cutscene. Meet a character I've never met before. Don't see the usual NPC guy. The character that I've never met before in this cutscene is going, hey, I'm going to offer you the choice. Fight me in combat or work for me. I'm like, interesting. Let's see how work for them goes. They're like, okay, I guess you can work for me. They give me a quest I've never had before. Interesting. I go to the next area, still part of World 1. It's now a completely different task that I've never seen again. Side quest is unlocked. I have to chase an electric... I have to chase like it's like a weird contraption down a mine shaft. Can't get too far above or below it because of electricity gates and things. Really fun. No idea like what I'm doing, even though this is now technically New Game Plus. I'm just basically just playing through this stuff for the first time. Ended up looking around online as to like, hey, what's actually going on here? People reckon on one playthrough for the game, for a particular world, you see 20 to 30% of the content for that world. So you need to replay. The whole point is that you want to re-roll and replay each world a bunch of times to see all the different content. And even once you see all the different content, every time you re-roll after that, it'll still be random variations and combinations. So what I did for World 1 is almost guaranteed to be different to what Saif might get for World 1. if he picks it up and plays it. And I think that is so much cooler than what I gave it credit for at the start, because holy shit, one of the boss fights is literally fighting a maze.
One more time.
That's what? No. I'm sorry. Did I stutter? No. You are literally fighting a maze.
That's a big corn.
Okay, I'm thinking more back of the Denny's Kids menu. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. More in touch with corn, I guess.
Big corn guy, huh? And so there's all that, and you get to pick your class at the start of the game. As I said, I picked Challenger and I picked Handler as my second class. They are now level 9 and level 6. I have 2 other classes that I've unlocked. You can unlock classes at any time if you have the materials. And so I have 2 other classes ready to go, and I've unlocked another class by completing a certain objective. It's kind of like a non-standard class. And I just looked up that there are 2 other classes that are non-standard and 1 hidden class. And the hidden class was literally designed to be found by data miners. There is nothing in the game that would tell you...
That's actually really cool, considering what's going to be coming up in the news docket later.
Oh boy. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say through this big weird 30-minute rant or ramble is that I went into the game with the wrong idea as to what the game was, and it took me too long to figure out what the game was. And I didn't make it easy for myself by playing it solo and thinking it was going to be more of a Unga Bunga turn brain off grind fest like other games that I typically enjoy are. And what I found instead was a game that prides itself on how different it plays every time, on a surprisingly deep class system, and on a sort of elements of a, like, taking all the little elements and putting them together would be so much more fun in co-op that it hurts that I've already done a playthrough without it. Because the whole thing of what the game prides itself on is the survival part of the adventure, not the adventure part. And that was the part that I just didn't understand until way too late into the game. But Remnant 2 is very cool, and it's absolutely hooked me. And I'm really glad that I stuck with it, because there were a couple points in the middle where it was like, it's not bad, but the amount of hours that I put into this, I know I would have been having more fun in something like Monster Hunter, or would have seen more varied things like an Elden Ring. But I'm really glad that I stuck with it, and holy shit. Like, even the hour before we started recording this, I was playing it. It's just like, oh, I got like 30 or I got like 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, I could like continue moving through this particular world on this campaign rerun. And I'm excited to return to it and continue playing it. It's fucking baller. It's awesome.
That's good. Out of 10.
At the start, it would have been a 6, and it's still like, yeah, not bad. Then once I unlocked Dog raised it to 7.5.
We don't do half measures here. Full scores.
8. Yeah. All right. Went to 8. And then the final boss, this is specifically the final boss fight, not the overall summary of Remnant 2. Specifically the final boss fight went, this shit's pretty cool. 8.5. I know we don't do half measures. Shut up. Second phase. Holy shit, this is really cool. 9. Like 9 and a bit. To what happens after the second phase. I'm not going to spoil it. Holy fucking shit, this might be some of the like most dopest shit I've played in a video game in a long ass time. 10 for that boss fight alone. 10. Holy fuck. Took me ages to beat. So like did not care. 10. Overall, now that I understand what the game is, 9. Highly
that's
highly
huge.
recommend.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah. I think if you are intending to play it solo, I would say it loses marks playing it solo. Part of that 9 is factoring in playing it in multiplayer.
Ah, good. You've definitely tweaked my curiosity about it. I think I need to see the gameplay. I still don't think I understand. It doesn't matter.
No, I fully appreciate that. I watched gameplay, didn't fully understand it either. Literally played it and didn't fully understand it. But if you look up gameplay, that is literally it. So if the gameplay doesn't look exciting, it's right. It doesn't look exciting, but the gameplay not looking exciting doesn't mean that the gameplay isn't exciting to play. And I just bear that in mind.
Yeah, all right. Play-ons are cool then.
Right. Well, if Saif has nothing to contribute.
I put something in a docket, thank you very much.
I asked you around the lounge and you said that you might have seen a movie but you couldn't remember, so therefore we weren't going to do anything about it, but I guess we can go to that docket.
I thought you meant
really
recent besides that, because I brought up last week that I watched these movies.
Oh shit, it was the cliffhanger. Yeah, okay. Hit us with the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy.
Yeah, no, so Trin found out
I can't believe they called it this. Anyway, sorry, you go on. I don't like the name of being called the Cornetto Trilogy, because when I first saw these 3 movies, I'm like, oh, cool, like they made a movie about Cornettos.
Oh boy, you would have been so disappointed.
Oh well, better luck next time. Anyway, Steph, sorry, I completely cut you off.
Yeah, no, so Trin
and another thing.
Trin found out that I hadn't watched the Cornetto trilogy. Like I mentioned last week, I've seen bits and pieces of them, like just especially for Shaun of the Dead, I've just seen little bits and pieces of it here and there and online, but I've never actually sat down and watched them all from front to back. So we just did that. Like one weekend we watched Shaun of the Dead, and then the next week we watched both Hot Fuzz and The World's End. They're all really good movies. Like, wow, people have been saying these movies are good for almost 20 years, and they're right. They're really funny. They're great movies. So just to do a quick rundown of what they are, Shaun of the Dead is a zombie comedy movie that
A zombie.
Yeah, a zombie. Where Shaun. Basically, like this town, all of Britain starts getting overrun by zombies, and Shaun and his best friend, oh god, what is that? What's actually his name? Nick, was it in this movie? Ned?
I don't know.
Ed.
I only know him as Nick Frost, the actor.
Nick Frost is the actor. In the movie, his name is Ed. Shaun and Ed are just like, you know what we need to do? We need to go find somewhere safe. And so Ed's suggestion, because this is always Ed's suggestion every day, is to just go and hit up the pub and just stay there until it all blows over.
I was so glad you said until it all blows over.
Yeah, that's the important part. Just wait till it blows over. And Shaun, he's also just going through a breakup. So he's like, no, we need to go save my ex. And so I can use this as a way to convince her that so we need to get back together. And a whole lot of shenanigans happen along the way. People in the group start turning. Shaun also has to save his mum and his stepdad. And there's a entire really famous bit where they have this whole like fighting off zombie bits while Queen's playing in the background, and it's all really well done. It's well directed. All the cuts in the movie are really punctual and really highlight funny moments. The script writing is really tight. It was a really enjoyable movie for me. And then
you know what's really funny?
Yeah.
Just on that point. I saw Hot Fuzz first and then Shaun of the Dead.
Right.
And admittedly, I was quite a bit younger. Actually, I might be outing myself to say that I think those are R16 films, and I was not 16 when I saw them.
I'm calling the police right now, big fella.
Please don't tell them. Please don't tell mum and dad that I went on DisneyChannel.com.au without their permission.
There he is, officer. There's the man that lied.
But I really like Shaun of the Dead. I, as my whatever-year-old self when I watched that, hated the fact that it was so synced to Queen, because it ruins the comedy in the like fourth wall breaking. They're doing this so intentionally, and I don't understand why. It was like a cringe, like younger me was just like, ooh, that's cringe, like literally.
Younger you was an idiot. It's fantastic.
That's the thing. I've seen Shaun of the Dead many times since. Every time it's like, damn, Edgar Wright fucking nailed that. I think it is Edgar Wright. Please tell me it's Edgar Wright.
All 3 movies are by Edgar Wright, and
that's what I thought.
Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg are the 2 big ones, and all of them always star Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and a couple of other actors and actresses here and there. But yeah, I'm going on to Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz came out a couple of years later, and this is more of a action comedy that's about just taking the piss out of buddy cop movies. Simon Pegg in this one plays a London metropolitan police officer and he gets promoted to sergeant, but he has to go to a small village instead. And they don't even give him a house. Like they're like, oh yeah, you're gonna get a condo for yourself when you get up there, but it's still under construction, so you'll just have to live in the hotel for a little bit. And he just as he's going around the town, he's like the only cop there that's taking it seriously, and he starts uncovering that there's a murder mystery going on there, but none of the other cops are looking into it. None of them believe him about it, and Nick Frost's cop actor in this is the only one that tries to get close to him, while Simon Pegg's like just taking it too seriously. He can't turn off being a cop even on his off hours, and that's where a lot of the friction in the movie comes from. It also has a huge fuck old people and fuck rich old people in particular energy that I really vibe with. It's basically going, yeah, if old rich people get in charge of a town, they're just going to ruin it for their own, just so they feel comfortable. They're going to hate teenagers and try to get rid of them. They're going to hate tourists and try to get rid of them. So they need to go. And this is probably my favorite of them, because I found the jokes in this one to land the hardest for me, and they were just back to back to back, just really good jokes one after the other, and it was just firing on all cylinders. I really, really love this movie.
What was funny for me was that was me the whole way through, and funnily enough, I guess watching it with my, I guess they are boomer generation parents. They obviously were all a lot younger when we first saw it at the time, but they only really started enjoying the movie in the finale sequence, and I don't even know if I saw them crack a smirk or like a let out a little giggle even throughout any of the film before then. And was I laughing because I was the one that recommended the film and automatically wanted to try and laugh harder at the jokes to make other people on board? Yeah, I'm sure that's a part of it, but of the three, that one's easily my favorite too.
It's been so long since I've seen these movies.
FTL viewing party.
You know what? Yeah,
7 hour spoiler cast.
Yeah, sure.
I think Shaun of the Dead's my favorite. Just like the way it starts, and like it's like, okay, what's happening? Okay, this is funny, and it just sort of becomes something a lot more than what you think it's going to be.
Yeah, there are parts of Shaun of the Dead that hit harder than parts of Hot Fuzz, but as a film, I prefer Hot Fuzz, I think.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That logic behind it. For the record as well, Trin's favorite of these was Shaun of the Dead, and I was telling my mum when I was watching through them as well that I was like, yeah. So I haven't watched these movies before, and she was like surprised as well, because she's seen Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. I don't think she's seen The World's End, but she also likes Shaun of the Dead the most.
Yeah.
What's funny is you ask anyone that's seen the Cornetto Trilogy, I haven't met anyone, and to be honest at this point I'm kind of scared to, who says that The World's End is their favorite of the three.
I have. So
you have?
One of my friends in in mine and Trin's Discord server, when we finished it up watching all three of them, we were talking about which ones were all of our favorites, and one of them comes in like he was out there at the beginning like, yeah, no, you need to watch these, but he didn't watch them with us. But when we finished it all up, he's like, yeah, so The World's End is actually my favorite. Like, yeah, the comedy of all of them are really good, but The World's End, like, just the message behind it and like the way that the way the story plays out just hit him the hardest. Like the whole everything to do with like trying to move on from your goals and like the living like I don't know if he said I think it was like someone he knew was alcoholic, but like just the whole message around alcoholism was really good. And I can get where he's coming from with it as well. And yeah, for me, this was the weakest of the bunch, but this is also just a really strong movie.
Yeah, I think for me, so I've seen the other two more, well, I don't even know if I've seen them more recently. I remember The World's End the least. I remember the broad story beats, but I don't remember the film like I could recall most of Shaun of the Dead or most of Hot Fuzz. But the finale just lost me a bit, I think. Again,
the finale of The World's
End,
the bit like actual way The World's End ends is a bit like it's a bit out there even for these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's sort of why it's designed to do that kind of thing for whatever reason. But no, yeah, 100% agree with you on that one. It's definitely the fucking weirdest. I didn't even know this was part of the Cornetto Trilogy until
it's literally like one of the last shots that puts it into the Cornetto Trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even really remember. I'm looking it up on Wikipedia now. Wild time indeed.
But yeah, just a quick summary of what this movie is Simon Pegg's character, oh god, what is it? Kingsley, something along those lines. When he was in college grade, like college age, he was trying to do this thing called the pub crawl. I guess it's just a pub crawl. They gave it a more fancy name. Oh, there it is. The Golden Mile.
Yeah, it was the Golden Mile.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if that was something that I've just done multiple times or if that's what they called it in the film.
Yeah, okay. So I'm actually looking at the notes properly now. Gary King wants to do the like he as a 20-ish year old person, he's trying to do the Golden Mile, where they go and do a pub crawl across 12 pubs where like in this village that they live in. And he's dragging 4 of his friends with him, and they make it to 10 before they pull out, so they never actually get to finish it. And now he's in like his 40s. And he's like seemingly in an Alcoholics Anonymous group telling this story, and he's like, "Oh no, it was great." And someone tells him, "Well, don't you ever regret not finishing it?" sort of thing. And
that's right, yeah.
And he's like, "Oh nah." And then immediately after, he goes and starts hitting up all of his friends to go and pull them into it. They've all like matured and moved on with their lives, and somehow he still manages to drag them into it. So they all go back to the village that weekend to hit up the 12 pubs. So some things have changed over time. Some of the pubs are a lot different. Some of them aren't even pubs anymore. One of them King got banned from, so to actually cross it off his list, he just drinks people's beers from outside of the pub before moving on to the next one. And yeah, as they're doing this pub crawl, they just uncover this weird elaborate story of like, the town's taken over by robots and androids that are like trying to push humanity into being competent and mature enough to be indoctrinated into like the universe's grand council.
It's a weird movie.
It is.
I don't think I'm a big fan of it.
I like it. I still think it's like a really well done movie, but for me, it's the weakest of the trilogy. Like, I don't think any of them drop below an 8, but it's like World's End is lower end of an 8. Shaun of the Dead is a high 8, and Hot Fuzz is like a 9.
I can believe that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Don't think I'd like to agree with that, but I think that's what it is. I haven't seen World's End in like fucking a million years. I remember seeing it in high school, and I was like, I don't get it. And I had like Harry Potter chick in there, and I'm like, whoa, I know you from Harry Potter. What are you doing in this movie?
It also has Pierce Brosnan, and I was like, that's 007.
Wait. Why did you think, man, that's 007 and not, man, that's one of the possible dads in smash hit Mamma Mia?
I don't think I've seen Mamma Mia properly.
Oh my god.
So a big thing that always comes up is that I'm just not a movie person. I don't watch a lot of movies.
Well, guess what your job is today.
There's a lot that I have seen that it'll be like, oh yeah, okay, that make like, of course you've seen that, but then there'll be something that's like, what do you mean you haven't seen that? Like looking at Pierce Brosnan's Wikipedia page real quick, the two that are jumping out at me is like, yeah, I've seen Mrs. Doubtfire, but I haven't seen Mamma Mia.
I really don't know what to do with you.
No, but at the same time, I haven't seen a lot of movies as well.
Take me to the movies.
Don't make it sound cute. You made that sound cute. We're not friends. Stop parasocially trying to get me to take you to the movies.
But we went to Krispy Kreme together.
That's true. We did make out on Bestie Day.
That was a strange thing to say.
That's just because Steve didn't have anyone to make out with on Bestie Day. He didn't get the 2-for-1 Krispy Kreme.
I did not go get the 2-for-1 from Krispy Kreme, did I?
Obviously not. Otherwise, you would have made out with someone for Bestie Day.
But yeah,
This
I
guy,
don't know if these are
comedian,
like I don't know if these are like Edgar Wright's like first handful of movies, but like I've seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World before, and everything that's
Sorry
in
to
that
hear that.
movie, like his direction style is very noticeable across that movie and the Cornetto Trilogy. But in general, like these movies are great. If you have seen them, it's really worth a rewatch just to sit down and watch all three of them back to back. And if you haven't seen them, then go and watch them. Don't be like me. Don't put it off. Just go see them. They're great.
back to back. Fucking hell. Be a movie and a half.
And it'll still be less time than I spent talking about Final Fantasy 16.
Could only be so lucky.
Right. So I guess we already gave it the points rating. So anything else? Any final word from either of you two before we cut to the news?
I just want to quickly go that like I just quickly loaded up my my Twitter feed, and the first thing that popped up was like there's an article.
Your X feed?
No, I think they're rebranding it back to Twitter now because X was a massive failure. They even took down the X sign. But anyway, that's
because they had to. That's because the Liberal government wouldn't let them have a completely unanchored sign hanging above a building with sandbags.
Also neighbor complaints because that sign was just flashing on them all night. Like it could have caused a seizure with how much it was flashing. But anyway,
like, it was unanchored, right? Like it was literally like in a strong wind, it would have just blown onto someone walking below and killed them.
Yeah, no, it was fucked. I don't know what's going on with Musk and Twitter and X.
He's doing his own thing, I guess.
But yeah, I just saw an article pop up where it's about Simon Pegg talking about how At World's End is his favorite of the Edgar Wright movies he starred in, and that they do want to do a fourth movie together.
Can't believe Simon Pegg could be so horribly wrong.
Like this is just a paraphrase from like the long interview about it, but he goes, it's the least audience friendly, it's the darkest of the three, it's the most challenging.
Challenging look, it doesn't matter. Let's leave it there. Let's go.
No. Let's discuss what he meant by that.
What did the author say when he said that?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But yeah,
the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines challenging as...
Just really funny to me that I looked to the side real quick and it's like, oh, hey, The World's End was just brought up to my attention again. Actually,
it is quite funny that was done via Twitter. Simon Pegg, he's done well for himself. And deserved.
He really stepped it up a peg, didn't he?
He did.
What do you reckon came first? Simon Pegg or being pegged?
Well, hang on.
You know what? Let's move on. We all know what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say it.
No, I'm going to say it instead. That brings us to the end of Round the Lounge for this week. Thank you to you both. As always, we get to move on to round 2 for this week, which is, of course, I said round 2. Wow, part 2, which is, of course, the news. And with that, we come to the end of Round the Lounge for this week. Thank you to you both. As always, we get to move on to part 2 for this week, which is, of course, the news. And kicking us off, Remnant 2 news, just while randomly flicking around the interwebs, there is reports via Twitter or X, depending on which way you vibe.
However Elon is feeling at this minute.
Yeah, it is. That Remnant 2 has sold 1 million units in 4 days since launch, which awesome. Not really much more to discuss. I can
How many consoles is it on?
PC, PS5, and probably Xbox. I actually don't know the full range of consoles.
No, I'm just saying that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sold 10 million, like half that time, but fine, whatever. Splitting hairs, I guess, it doesn't matter. It's a new one.
You know, just comparing it to one of the most popular gaming franchises in the world.
Yes. As everything should be measured. I measure every movie against Titanic and Avatar 1.
I measure the strength of my submarine to the Titanic as well. Anyway, moving on. In the segment that we lovingly call Kickstarter Corner, I hope that's not trademarked. I don't think it is.
It's our corner now. You kick it into the corner.
Hey,
and the corner is spelled with a K.
The Cool Kids Club Kickstarter Kick the Can Down the Road corner.
All right, no more Ks.
Miles? Or
We can have 2 or we can have 4. No in between.
anyway,
Welcome to Burgatory. A graphic novel is being an man. Sorry, how does this fucking shit get posted?
Yeah, good question. Good question. We have word that Ratatan, which is made by the esteemed creators of the Patapon franchise, and I gotta say, guys, it is so hard for me to try and just read anything and not just have Patapon just playing constantly in my head.
Oh, yeah, no, I watched the gameplay trailer earlier, and they're doing the whole Ratatan bit, and in my head, I'm just replacing it with Patapon.
Pon, Patapon, dun, 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 dun. Man, such a good game.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, it would be on PlayStation, so you wouldn't know. No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm sorry that Xbox didn't have Soul and released a portable console.
Well, they released a portable console. It was just called a laptop.
Yeah.
That was shit. Anyway, so they don't have the rights for Patapon because EA wants to. Wait, is it EA? I actually don't know who owns the rights.
Patapon.
Wants to put that in the ground and just hold on to it forever.
So Sony's allowed to own things. It's just Microsoft that's not okay.
So Sony doesn't want joy in their heart. Instead, they'll do another Horizon sequel.
Anyway,
we just need to ignore him and move on with our lives.
Anyway, they've announced that they want to create a spiritual successor to it, and they are funding it via Kickstarter, which had been out. The Kickstarter game has been out. Sorry, the Kickstarter campaign has been out for all of 3 days or something, and it's already funded.
I think it's a day because it says 30 days to go, and Kickstarter is usually 31 days.
Even better, and it's already funded, so that's awesome news.
Funded in less than an hour. It's got that little special sticker on Kickstarter that says so.
Damn. Currently only PC, but there is a stretch goal for console versions. I'm interested. I don't know if I'm interested enough to back the Kickstarter because I'm trying to move away from buying things on PC. But it's cool. Yeah.
But if you back it, you might get a console version. So if they're
and what if I don't? And what if I don't? You literally made fun of Saif for buying something that he can't use.
Yeah, but you can use this, just not in the most efficient way.
So rounding up a little bit. They're about at this time to about $250 away from the console version.
Okay, that's way closer than I thought. No, that's cool. Anyway, I don't really have much more to say. If you remember Patapon, then awesome. If you don't know Patapon, look up any Patapon video. It's kind of rhythm. It's a rhythm strategy game. It was a really fun crossover of genres, popularized on PSP, however many years ago that is now.
I also want to point out one of their stage names is Pirates of the Paradian, and I love that.
That's awesome. Pretty cool. You know what? Maybe I fund it. Maybe I fund it for the $250.
Yeah, do it.
That's a joke. I don't have $250. Please send help. Buy
when
my Patreon.
I ask for money, it's an issue, but when you ask for money, it's fine.
Hey, it's not for me. It's for the developers of the spiritual successor to Patapon. Stop making this about you, okay?
Do you know what that's
fair? Also for my crack addiction.
It's investing.
Fair. Next up, we have Star Wars Jedi Survivor coming to PS4 and Xbox One, which is not normally
luck.
It's not normally the news we hear. Normally, it's the other way of a game coming to more recent consoles. So
very strange.
This game has a hard enough time running on PS5, Series S, Series X, and PC. So good fucking luck putting this on the older hardware.
Yeah.
I'll probably drop it down to 30, 30 frames per second, 720p.
I think it is running at 30 on Series S and still having a hard time.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. See, I saw this news and I was like, oh, this is a bit fucking weird. But then I'm like, well, we are all in privileged positions to have stable jobs that give money consistently so we can afford this kind of stuff. But if you're in a not so fortunate situation and you haven't been able to upgrade yet, or maybe you don't want to upgrade yet, maybe it's good.
I feel like if you don't have the money to upgrade, but you have the money to drop on Jedi Survivors, there's questions to be asked. I'm not saying they're equivalent, but I'm saying, if you're thinking, man, I really want to play the game that shat on the hardware of next gen consoles, I can't wait for it to shit on the generation of previous gen consoles, then I have questions. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, to be fair to those people, Microsoft did just raise the price of the Xbox Series S and X over here.
The PS5 did that a while ago, man. Stop fucking shooting me down, you bastard.
I mean, and we talked about it when the PS5 did it.
Yeah, and we talked about it when the Xbox did it.
Imagine if Microsoft can drop $70 billion on an acquisition, but they still have to raise the prices of an Xbox. Man,
Activision tax.
It's got to be tough being an Xbox player. Truly the most oppressed species. Anyway,
why do you think they have to raise the price? They've got to pay Activision somehow.
They got to pay off Bobby Kotick somehow.
Not with my money, they won't.
Speaking of your money, Saif, as the only person among us that's played the Saints Row reboot, there he is. All right, roll credits, boys. We got him. We got it. Thank you, Steve.
Looking kind of sus.
Are you interested in the third expansion for Saints Row, A Song of Ice and Dust, dropping August 8th?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of interested in this because...
Are you more interested in the Song of Ice or the Song of Dust?
Oh, Dust is a little too close to sand where it's starting to get coarse and rough and gets everywhere. It also just makes me feel dirty. So snow. I'm gonna have to go with the ice.
Understandable.
But no, the D&D section and side quest of the Saints Row game is, well, it was my favorite part of the game that I've played, and generally online from what I've seen, it's everyone else's favorite part of the game as well. Like, even people that don't like the game very much are just like, this D&D section was pretty good though. So
Tiny Tina did it better.
So they're playing into their strengths, and the third and final expansion for the game is going to be a little bit more expanding on the D&D stuff that was in there. And on top of that, they're also going to finally release the game on Steam on August 24th.
That's right. It was a fucking
Epic only
exclusive.
Yeah.
Epic exclusive.
Which I forgot about. I thought it just kind of sizzled out on Steam. Turns out it wasn't there at all.
It did. Yeah. It sizzled, all right.
They've been cooking it.
Yeah, it's cool. They overcooking, perhaps. Next up, we have Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
This one is right up Steve's alley, I believe. Steve, what's the latest?
So Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is a spiritual successor to the Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future game. It came out for the Dreamcast and the Xbox, I believe, a while ago.
Yeah, Future is Xbox only.
Yeah, cool. One of I thought so. Yeah, because that actually came with.
That's crazy. I think that's what they're trying to put Jedi Survivors on next. We'll see if it works out.
Explodes. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so
literally cooks.
Hang on, let him cook. Got an egg up there or something. Yeah. No. So Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. I've said it before. We'll give a brief introduction now. It is like a spiritual successor. It's skateboarding and rollerblading. And you're grinding around the city, getting points, doing graffiti. It's got a killer soundtrack by Hideki Naganuma, who did the soundtrack to the originals. Holy fuck.
They've also gotten people that are like fan album creators that are inspired by him to come on and do stuff.
Yeah.
I believe one of them is Too Mellow, who did an entire Jet Set Radio send-off soundtrack sort of thing, like a big celebration of their anniversary, and that soundtrack was great, so they got him onto this as well. Yeah,
because the soundtrack fucking definitely fucks. Holy shit, it's so good. But soundtrack aside, like, it was just like a solid game. I think it was a solid game. It's been like 20 years since I played it, but I did love Jet Set Radio Future a lot more than I liked Jet Set Radio.
I played Jet Set Radio 1 when they released it on PS3 and Xbox 360, and it still holds up really well. Yeah, but it's like Jet Set Radio is mission to mission, where Jet Set Radio Future is like open world, and I did exactly the same thing. I bought it for the 360. And it doesn't hold up as well as Jet Set Radio Future, I thought. But anyway, so Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is coming out very soon for your PC console, like your Steam and all that. But it's coming to like the PlayStation 5, Series S,
Series X, PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One on September the 1st, which is 2 weeks after. 2 weeks after.
$40 dues, US, I assume.
No.
Yeah, 40 USD would be right.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said 14. Yeah, so 40 USD is about 60 Australian and 13,000 New Zealand. But no, very excited. Very, very excited.
That's painfully accurate, actually.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, no, this may be an ultra super rare, once in a lifetime. Steven buys it on launch.
I cannot believe it. Who are you? What have you done with
Ultra
Steven?
rare.
He only ever waits for games to come to Game Pass and then waits for it to be the last 2 weeks.
Okay, so very true. So the only problem I have with this is it's very close to Starfield. Starfield launches like a week or two after this, so might be a good sort of palate cleanser type of thing, but I don't know. I'll have to see what like a review says. But no, I'm very excited for this game regardless. And I get that feeling it won't come to Game Pass for some time, and I want to play it now.
Why don't you play it now?
It's not out yet.
Okay, well, make it out and then play
Make out with it, yeah, right. They haven't used any big titty waifus to advertise this game. Degenerate bros. We're in trouble. Okay, move on.
Right. Yeah, we are moving on, which is funnily enough what Activision wants to do as part of this next story, where they are... Sorry, I can't do it with a straight fucking face.
Counter-suing.
Yeah, counter-suing. Yeah, good point. So a YouTuber and TikTok music critic is suing Activision for taking a clip from a TikTok he made, and they are turning it into their own TikTok about Crash Bandicoot themed sneakers. He's suing them, and so therefore Activision, I guess, as is just par for the course at this point, is counter-suing him.
Yeah, Activision believes it's in their legal right because of some way that TikTok copyright works, where the audio, whatever audio is uploaded onto TikTok, is public domain essentially for other people to put onto their own TikToks.
Which, to be honest, based on how TikTok works, might actually be the case, but fuck Activision.
Yeah, fuck Activision. And I think this is just an ad they're using on other things, not just TikTok. So it's gone past, if they're putting it out on other platforms, and it goes past TikTok's terms and services.
It's fucking weird, man. I thought it'd be in like creative use, but whatever.
Anyway, not really much more we can add to this, but just another classic. Oh, I guess we got to reset the fuck Activision counter, don't we?
It's just constantly pressing the button to reset it.
Well, don't worry. We can make it all of about 30 seconds because the next story is also Activision. Where shit, I need to make sure that I get the right order of events here. Hasbro wanted to re-release old Transformers video games, but then said that Activision lost the code. Activision has come out and said that we have the code. It's not lost and it never was. I'm trying to think of the fuck Activision take on this.
By not lost, they mean it's on a hard drive somewhere in our studios and offices. We don't know where, but it's not lost. The hard drive is within our scope to actually find it.
Yeah, and it's more like, would they do anything with it type of thing as well? Like, no, we've got the source code. Oh, yeah, cool.
They can sell it to Microsoft for $70 billion.
What also really gets me about this is that, like, people were asking if, like, Hasbro had any intention of re-releasing these old Transformers games because they were highly received when they released. And Hasbro's just like, yeah, no, Activision doesn't have the source code anymore. But even if they did, it's not on. We're not too worried about it. We hope that if Activision gets bought out by Microsoft, that they'll just put the games on Game Pass instead. So Hasbro has no plans on re-releasing these or forcing Activision to find the codes. They're just like, yeah, no, maybe when Microsoft buys them, they'll put it on Game Pass for people to enjoy, which is such a stupid mindset in my opinion.
from like a point of view of like if they re-release it and no one buys it, like it's a waste of time and money. But then like re-releases are very easy to do, so I don't know. Someone's winning.
It's more of the we're not going to do it, we hope someone else does it sort of mindset that's like really frustrating about it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I take that one.
Cool. Would we say that is an L take from Hasbro?
Hasbro, like Activision, is always constantly taking L takes.
Well, someone else taking L takes is actually shit. That segue doesn't work as well as in my head anymore. League of Legends initially announced a fighting game fucking 17,000 years ago before man first invented fire, along with Arcane and Valorant and that weird rhythm game with Ziggs, and I think some RPG game as well, which I don't know if that ever made it out of out of development. But the point is, the long-awaited fighting game for League of Legends, also known as the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 killer, we'll get to more on that in a sec, is finally possibly playable at EVO 2023. So in other words, in like 3 days.
Yeah, they did a couple of developer videos last week to announce this, and they've also just gone and done like, yeah, so last time we talked about the game, we said it was going to be like a 2v2 tag style game, but we didn't actually confirm about anything else around that. Everyone just kind of assumed it was one player versus one player and they just have two characters they control. But it seems to be that they're going to actually be pushing for like actual proper 2v2 two player versus two player matches. They do have modes in there where it can be like, no, it's still one person versus one person, or even one person versus a team of two people to account for different setups. But I guess the main League of Legends tournament vibe might be to go for team-based games, which is really funny because this means that Riot is doing what was thought to be the impossible and actually giving fighting game players a reason to blame their teammates for their losses.
What I find funny is that they've announced that they've said that for the EVO 2023 demos, it's going to be focused mostly on the duo play, and that in the duo play, in other words, 2 versus 2, they've announced 3 characters.
Yeah, they're going to be announcing the 4th at EVO when people are going to be there to actually play it. They had a bunch of fighting game YouTubers go and test it out last week, and they all know who the 4th character is, but they're under NDA to not say who it is yet.
I'm so sure it's gonna be some weird fan favorite like Jinx or someone, but I'd much rather it be a more fighting game mainstay.
We already know Jinx is in the game as well, so it could just be her.
Jinx is the one from Arcane, isn't she? I don't know. I've never seen Arcane.
Yeah, she's the main character of Arcane.
Okay, well, it makes sense to put them in then.
But the other playable ones, just for interest, Darius makes sense. Echo makes less sense, but I can kind of see it. And Ari, who in a traditional fighting game sense, I imagine would get the absolute shit kicked out of her. But
no, she's a lot like Storm in the Marvel vs. Capcom games, where she uses a lot of magic to keep at range.
Wrong kind of fighting. Fighting is fists only.
The most famous fighting game of all time has the main character throwing a fireball at people.
That fireball is made of fists. I will not hear different.
It's actually embarrassing how long it took me to actually see the fists inside those fireballs, by the way.
I'm not paying super close attention to this, but it is that not only do they finally talk about news of this sort of moving forwards towards an actual release, but we in the same vein get, I know that we're going to jump forward a couple here, but Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 announced in the same week.
Been a good week for announcement, hasn't it, fellas?
Oh, it's been a great week for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, I tell you.
So many things have been popping up to challenge Nick All-Star Brawl for its crown, and now it's coming up with a sequel to put all those pretenders back in their place.
No, it's a sequel to challenge itself for its own crown.
First it killed Multiverses, and I said nothing. Then it killed Nick All-Star Brawls 1, and I said nothing.
Yeah, and then it killed itself.
Well, look, I'm just saying, no one's talking about Smash anymore. We're all talking about Nick All-Star Brawl.
That's true.
2.
That's true. You know what? He's onto something.
Let him cook.
Yeah,
so,
you know, the thing that I'm most surprised at, that they confirmed Omni-Man and Homelander for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2.
Not fun at all. And Peacemaker. So I don't.
It's the idea of Omni-Man just fucking up SpongeBob.
So when did the first one come out? This is what I can't understand.
About a year ago,
guess.
I think.
I looked it up. No, I looked it up. Guess.
Yeah, I would have said like.
Ago? Was it Seth?
I would have said like
November?
March. I would have said like no. Oh, hang on. So which house was I in? I reckon it would have been like last March because I wasn't living in this house when it came.
So wait, last March. So not March 2023, March 2022.
Yeah, sorry, March 2022.
Okay,
Yeah,
and Seth is contending.
I think it's October or November 2022.
Actually, fuck.
Okay, you are both wrong. It is October 2021.
Really?
Okay, yeah, that's
Rivals, I win.
Yep.
I mean, technically, but also like that just in its own right is insane to me. I would also, it's only because I looked it up, because if I had to guess, I would have also guessed November last year.
Yeah, because it hasn't felt that long, but
No,
it does make sense for 2 years later to put out a sequel.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I was always memeing this because I assumed that the first one flopped so quickly that it was weird that they were rushing a second game out. I didn't realize the first game had nearly been out for 2 years.
Oh, so it's got a single.
Man.
It's got a single player campaign. It's got super attacks.
Technically,
Yeah,
that
it's
was
like
a
a
campaign
big
mode in
revamp of the
one.
first game.
Yeah.
They're
Voice
even
acting for
redoing
all playable characters.
that was in the first game as DLC.
Yeah, I know, right? I scammed in on release. There's mini games,
And we actually have voice acting this time, so that'll be interesting.
They've already gotten Hugh Neutron out of the way, so now Jimmy Neutron can be in the game.
right?
True, actually. Yeah, good point. Finally, someone that can send the kid to the Shadow Realm. It's his dad. His dad can send Jimmy to the Shadow Realm. Anyway, any interest in playing this?
No,
I'm interested in the Steamcharts.
yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
don't look them up because I already have, and I have a fun game for us to play at the end of the news section.
Ooh,
I mean, I can already
my
guess what
God.
it's going to be about, so I guess we could just throw it in here.
no. After the news section.
I think it makes more sense timestamp wise to go after the news section.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Yeah, sorry, man. Just it is what it is, you know. So the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl out of the way.
Also,
The
to
final-
go back like 5 minutes and answer your question about Project L, I'm interested in this just to see, because I assume it's going to be free to play. I want to see how it'll shape the fighting game industry going forward, especially if it's actually going to be like this huge thing with. Actually, that reminds me. One of the funny things about when they showed this off to all the YouTubers was that someone was like, "So I wonder how this is going to be on NetPlay when you got to account for the fact that it's going to be 4 players." And one of the directors in the background just yells out, "We have fucking rollback netcode," and. You know what? I believe he's going to be right about that because the directors of the game invented rollback netcode. So I can see them just like improving rollbacks to make it work for 4 players.
Yeah, interesting angle on it though.
You know
Anyway,
that we've got with the Xbox Series X and the PS5 have been out for 3 years now.
I think deep down I did know that, but
Yeah.
it's still weird to hear it said.
It is very weird to hear it said. Very different
Because
time.
for the first like year, it was like, oh, you have a PS5? Who did you suck off to get one?
Yeah, and there was like really no reason to get one. There's no game.
Arguably, there's still not.
Didn't stop me buying the Sex on release, but very cool. Yeah, no, I just thought I'd age everybody.
You were there when they
Thank
released
you.
Sex, and you had
Yes.
enough money to buy it.
Oh, fuck, here we go now. I'm the cringy guy. Whew,
Yes,
yeesh.
yes, he is. Anyway, quickly sweeping the cringiness of Steve off under the rug. We have some Tekken news. Seth, as our resident Tekken head, or no, actually, no, not gonna continue with that. There was something that was bubbling away, fizzled out, didn't let it cook long enough. I'm sorry. We have a few bits of Tekken 8 news. Which one do you want to hit first?
I mean, I can just kind of roll it all into one story instead of doing it in a split.
I mean, we could do it in a split, but we got to open that story. We got to open that story with the Tekken director bursts into an illegitimate stream, yells that he's going to show his power, and then calls everyone cracker, which I think is just awesome.
Sorry?
Okay, so yeah, that would have been the middle section, but essentially what's happened...
No, this is the opener. We're going to start with the opener.
Okay, so this past weekend, they did the second Tekken CNT, the closed network test. And this time it was on Xbox and PC, so there was crossplay testing going on, seeing how the game held up across all sorts of various connections. I am very upset I didn't get to try it out this past weekend. There were certain things that took up my time, but being on PC opens up the game to a lot of weaknesses, like being cracked and being made available for piracy. So there are people right now playing Tekken 8's network test, but in an offline mode where they're only being able to play in training mode. And someone was streaming it with like a really obvious title on their stream. Like it was something like a big crack or something like that. And so Harada, the director of the Tekken series, came into the chat, burst through it, and just goes, let's
okay, so he opens with hello cracker.
Yeah. Hello cracker. I need to actually get
Man's in here just dropping slurs.
He meant software cracker.
Oh, did he? Were you there?
No, this article that I'm reading says he might have meant it like that.
And people started losing their minds, thinking that that the account saying it was a fake, and he just replies to them like, "Do you really think I'm a fake?" But no,
And then he ends up doing what Elon Musk does on a daily basis and flexing on X, or flexing his X's. I don't quite know what the term is. I think it's flexing his X's. I think that's what Elon Musk does.
Yeah, and to add salt to the wound, Harada on his Twitter account calls out the guy going, "Check this tweet, stop it or you'll get banned forever." Which I guess just leads to the next thing, is that Bandai Namco's esports team has gone, yeah, no, so we know people are cracking the beta test. If we catch you doing that, you're just banned from the Tekken World Tour for the next year.
Only a year, bud. Go back, train. It's like a hyperbolic time chamber moment.
By the time the next season of the game comes out, it'll be a completely different game, like in terms of balance and how many characters are in there. That whatever you learned in the beta, whatever you learn in this cracks version of the game won't even matter by the time the game comes out. It'll be that much of a different game. But also add in a 1 year ban, like it'll just be completely different by then. And yeah, so this is also a lot faster than what Capcom did, because Capcom's Street Fighter 6 beta was cracked open and people were playing it and also doing like Parsec tournaments on it to practice, and they didn't start throwing around bans for that until like the crack had been out for 6 months. So they waited a long time before they made an official stance on that, which was really stupid. But to finish off the Tekken stories of what putting this beta on PC has done, people have also gone into the game's files and just dug out 6 more unannounced characters for the game. So if you don't want to...
Surely they don't just like scrub that kind of shit before they do. What do they expect? Like,
yeah, it's really weird when this happens. I think it's just leftover stuff, because this might, even with these 6, it still might not be the final roster, because that puts the total count at 22. And it seems like the game's going to be trying to hit around 30. But yeah, the characters that are leaked now are Elisa, Raven, Shaheen, Steve, Zafina, and Yoshimitsu.
Steve.
Whoa.
Yo.
Hey, whoa.
Fuck, I didn't know.
I said
Jesus.
Steve, but not Steven.
Yeah, it depends.
You've been practicing at the gym, big fella?
Apparently so, yeah. I can't wait to get my ass handed to me. I've been laughing
You know
at
what
boxing.
makes this even worse is that Steve is a boxer.
Oh, absolutely, mate. He's literally me for real.
He's British, though.
I can't believe that your special move is to release a bunny to go and shoot the opponent.
Yep. Funny. Num.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, unless the person's a skirting board, the bunny's not going to bite them. Bunnies can have a skirting board as a treat.
There'll be
Does like electric damage because it's like bitten into mains.
Yeah. Just the absolute state of your fucking house.
Whoa, it's not my house. All landlords are bastards, except when you get tenants like...
Yes, the old A-Lab stance.
Yeah, and then you get tenants like me that... But just don't tell anyone, they're secret bunnies. Isn't that right, bunnies?
Secret bunnies, and the cooking oil in the kitchen sink was like that when you got there.
Where else is it supposed to go? It's a liquid.
It goes down the drain.
Yeah, into the toilet. You're right, Saif. I'm going to...
The sink drain gets a little bit of fat as a treat.
Okay, so hear me out. So let's say like you get your bond clean back and all that kind of stuff. But then like you sneak into the place and you drop like the world's biggest poo in the toilet. Do you reckon you'll lose your deposit?
Upper decker or lower decker?
Lower decker. It's a lower decker. An upper decker, you'll lose your bond.
Trick question. It's half and half. That way they don't suspect anything because they think they've found it all.
You have to pick it up out of the toilet. Crack it in half. Okay, I've taken this too far.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But
you encouraged me.
I appreciate the thought process. I think was there one other part of the Tekken story? Seth,
no, that's all the Tekken stuff. It's a really bad weekend for the Tekken devs because being on PC just cracked that game wide open.
So I'm looking at the pit in this article that supplied by PC Gamer. They've got like at the top of the article, they've got like a picture that Bandai Namco probably has created. Why is there a chick wearing like revealing formal attire carrying an RPG? Like, fuck are we doing? What is this game?
She's a trained assassin.
Why are you using an RPG for assassination?
No, Steve. That's all the context you get. She's a trained assassin. Shut the fuck up.
These women aren't wearing any clothes at all. They'd be shit fighters.
I mean, trained assassin's a trained assassin, my guy. Don't really know what to tell you.
Whatever.
You
got an RPG.
You think Lee Harvey Oswald on the old grassy knoll?
All right, stop. I'm begging you, Pat. Shut the fuck up. Whoa, is that the time? Final Fantasy 14, Seth. Oh, Jesus, man. You really forced me to do a big heel turn, didn't we?
You know what? I'm glad that tangent went on long enough for Steven being the one that has to introduce the Final Fantasy 14 segment. So yeah,
does it come with a 9-disc OST?
Hold on. Let Soken cook, and then maybe.
I don't know what Soken means.
Soken is a composer.
Oh.
Anyway, this past weekend was the this Final Fantasy fan festival. And at these fan festivals, they always talk about the next expansion and try to get people hyped up for things. So we got the announcement of what the next expansion is going to be, and it's Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail. This expansion is going to be like a little lighter in tone compared to the last ones. Like the entire saga for Final Fantasy 14 wrapped up with Endwalker, and this is them getting a chance to hit the reset button and do like a more grounds level story where it seems like we're going to be helping with an ascension of a throne ceremony while also looking for the City of Gold. It's going to be Final Fantasy 14 Road to El Dorado, essentially.
Yeah, it's going to be like this is... What point is it? Just South America? Or Central America, sorry.
Well, yeah, exactly. This entire region that we've seen so far is heavily based on like Central America and a little bit of Rio and Brazil. But yeah.
Level cap increase to level 100. Far out.
Yeah, every expansion increases the level cap. So now we're finally getting to level 100. The little shits from Final Fantasy X called the Pelu Pelu are going to be a new tribe that shows up in the game. We're also getting 2 new job quests. We don't know what they are exactly. We can kind of guess that one of them is probably going to be a pirate, which will be the new physical DPS, and we're getting a magical DPS. And people think it might be Painter, like a Paintromancer or something like that. Pictomancer is the name. Because Yoshi P was wearing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shirt when he was presenting the jobs. But yeah,
Turtlemancer.
There's a lot of things that were announced. Not everything's worth going over, but some things that I think are really neat is that 7.0 is going to be when they do the big graphical overhaul for the game, and it does look a fair bit nicer now. And they're also going to be expanding the free trial, so it will be going up to Stormbloods now when when the 6.5 patch releases. They're doing a Fall Guys collaboration where Fall Guys will have Final Fantasy 14 costumes, and then in Final Fantasy 14 there will be Fall Guys events. And to cap it off, just for Steven and Steven only, they're finally releasing the game on Xbox.
We did it. We did it. They said we couldn't be done, but we did it, X-Pros. We've won.
They even got Phil Spencer himself to come out on stage to announce it. They're going to do a open beta test when 6.5 releases in spring next year, and presumably it'll be released fully when Dawn Trail releases in summer next year. They're giving the summer window. Yoshi P knows that summer is like 3 months, but he really wants to hit it in the first month of summer. But he has to do the window in case something happens and they need to push it back to like the end of summer.
It gets so popular they stop selling the game. Yeah, no, I'm keen. Very excited. And it's exciting to see that the free content, the trial content is being increased as well.
It's all the way through Stormblood, which is like three Final Fantasy games worth of content.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about this game from people that like from non-gamers to non-MMO players to MMO degenerates. I've heard nothing but good things. I'm very excited. No, people. I'm talking about people, Pat.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
My mistake.
Yeah.
I'm not people. I'm friends.
Yeah. Whatever makes you sleep at night. Whatever makes your Pokemon sleep at night. But yeah, no, I'm so excited for this. This is like I've heard so many good things. I'm very excited. I'll note that it says it's got faster loading, whatever that means, faster loading than anything ever. Maybe that means what it means. 4K support on the Series X. It does come out in like spring 2024, not the summer launch window. So hopefully
that's the
means
beta being in spring. So I expect them to go like full release will be summer.
Yeah. I nearly got into, I think it was a couple of years ago, I nearly got into Final Fantasy 14 for the PlayStation, for my PlayStation 4, but I decided against it. But very excited. Might go in. Yeah, I'm not really a big MMO fan, but keen.
Yeah, and to cap off the fan festival presentation, they had this really weird segment where while Phil Spencer was out there, they had the Square Enix CEO Takashi Kiryu come out and just do a big gesture promise of whenever it's possible, we will release our future games on Xbox, and then they had a three-way handshake between Kiryu, Yoshi P, and Phil Spencer.
Who's Kiryu?
Kiryu is the Square Enix CEO.
Oh, okay, yeah, mad, yeah. I wonder what happened because of the Final Fantasy not releasing.
Yeah, Odyssey. It's the last. I think it's really weird to think about, but I think the last Square Enix game to release on Xbox was Stranger of Paradise last year, and they've released a bunch of games since, and they've just all avoided Xbox. A lot of fan speculation is just presumably it doesn't sell on Xbox, so they either wanted to wait for Game Pass deals, or because Game Pass was eating into their sales, they wanted to stop doing it. But there's been nothing official said, and there'll never be anything official said.
Yeah, we'll never know.
But yeah, good for Xbox people to just. It was a weird segment for this to come up like in the middle of a Final Fantasy 14 fan festival, but I guess it's good to know that they're just committed to still doing things for Xbox when possible.
Yeah. But who knows what that means, right?
I think that just means like when they're not locked into like an exclusive contracts.
Yeah, they did have a bunch of the Final Fantasies up till 13, I think, maybe even 15, on Game Pass for a bit. They didn't last very long. That's how I played Final Fantasy VII, the original one. But yeah, and they did promise that Final Fantasy VII Remake would come to Xbox eventually. I guess the implication with that is that once all three of the fucking games come out in 2035, they'll release on the Xbox in some sort of weird complete edition. And Final Fantasy 16 as well, we all know didn't launch on the Xbox. So I don't know. It makes me positive again. But we'll see.
Yeah, there was also that weird situation where Octopath Traveler 1 was on Xbox, but not PlayStation, and then Octopath Traveler 2 came out and it was on PlayStation, but not Xbox.
Yeah. There's that too. Very cool. When's Balan Wonder? Wait, Square Enix publishes Balan's Wonderworld, didn't they?
Yeah, and it is on
They did?
Xbox.
Balans. Yeah, but like, when's it coming to Game Pass? But
Do you want someone to pay for that deal to go through?
no.
Do
I
you
just
want
want Yuji
Yuji
Naka
Naka
to
to
like
be rewarded?
Think about it.
It was management's this out of his control. Could have been a different game. But anyway, very cool.
And speaking of very cool, finally in the news today, we got it, ladies and gentlemen. The rumor that the Switch is coming in 2024.
Been 3 months since the last rumor, eh? What happened to the end of this year? What happened to
3
the start
months.
of this
It's
year?
been like 2 weeks.
I don't know, but this is a I don't want to say a more credible source, but it seems like it's a more solid source.
It's a more detailed source.
Yeah. But then at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, my friend who
Is it more like a Szechuan or a curry sauce?
mustard.
Honey mustard or like
Dijon. Yeah,
mustard?
Dijon.
Hey, Dijon, my guy.
Dijon. But yeah, no, so I'll read the article. I've got it up here. So Eurogame is reporting, and they're saying that
So brave.
yeah, no. They say the Eurogamer cites its sources, someone being close to the development of it. Fuck that. But they're like, development kits have been passed to third-party developers, and it's going to be debuting in 2024. They say it's going to have
second half.
Oh, sorry, second half. Yes, you're correct. I don't know. They say it's going to have an LCD screen rather than an OLED screen, and that's probably because of cost considerations as well. I'm not really sure if I believe that because the Switch has an OLED model. I
don't think the Steam Deck does. They just have the anti-glare model, and that's still pretty expensive because they're trying to use NVMe storage as well. So I can see it being a cost thing because Nintendo wants it to be cheap enough for people to just get in entry level easily.
Yeah, they might have but I always found it weird how they had that switch with the OLED screen. So I think I just assumed that the Switch, the Switch Pro or whatever they want to dumb call it, would have
It's the Switch. It's the Switch, Steve. We've been through this.
Yeah, have we? Be very interesting to see if it is a gimmick or if it's straight a Switch, like if it just does the Switch thing, like you plug it into your TV and that's it, or if it does like a weird Wii U gamepad thing where it's online. It's in your hand and on the TV at the same time. Like you're casting it, I guess, maybe like a wireless type of thing. I think that'd be pretty cool.
The return of dual screen gaming, like the Wii U wanted.
I did enjoy the Wii U when it worked well, like what it did for the Wind Waker HD. You had the map in your hand, you had the thing up there, you could plot your course. I thought it was fucking sick.
Yeah, it works really well for specific cases like the Zelda games.
Yeah, and if it wasn't designed, the game wasn't specifically designed for it. It just like holding a big heavy controller in your hand. And I think it was a bit of understanding because I thought when I got this Wii U, if I didn't want to play it if like let's say my dad walked in and he wanted to play the TV, I could just transfer the screen to my tablet, the Wii U tablet, and I play it from there. But it's not like
something I want to throw in here as well is that we don't know for sure what's happening with backwards compatibility, but Nintendo said they want to convert as many people that own Switches over to the next console as soon as possible, which would imply they want back compat in there to just make transferring games over easy. But apparently some third-party publishers have expressed concern about not wanting back compat because that'll negatively affect resales of next-gen titles.
Just don't make resales of next-gen titles then.
Yeah, just
don't make new games.
Yeah, make new games. You don't have to port something to the next console if it's back
could you
compat.
imagine? Could you imagine that this is like PS6 to PS5 talking Naughty Dog's like, well, hang on, we don't want back compat because we've already released The Last of Us 7 times on PS5. No one's going to want to buy it unless there's no back compat with PS6, so we can release it another 4 times.
You know, that's oddly true because I think The Last of Us Part 1 did have pretty low sales on PS5 because people just played the PS4 version on that. It didn't pick up Steam until it came to Steam.
Didn't start picking up Steam until it was picked up on Steam. Heyo. Anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting to wait. Obviously, there's raw rumors, of course, need to say that out loud, but It will be interesting to see what is confirmed, what is wrong. We will stay tuned and wait. And I swear to God, if they don't call it the Switch, they are missing out. I'll get on the horn to Uncle Nintendo and make sure that it's called that, because I think I know what the people want. Don't worry, guys. Got your best interests at heart. So, now we are at the end of the news. Right before the audience question, we hinted at it. I want to quickly do a Steamcharts update. We've had a couple of big things happen recently. We've had the announcement of the sequel of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, and we've had the release of the sequel of Remnant from the Ashes. So, this is not a fair fight. I don't think we need to figure out who is going to win out of Remnant versus Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. What I want from you two is the 24-hour peak of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. Remember, this is in light of the announcement of a sequel to the game.
3,540.
Oh, this will be easy. 1.
No, I reckon it's been boosted because of the announcement. People are getting back into it.
It's closest without going over, right?
It is closest without going
Yeah,
over.
1.
This is the Price is Right rules.
Rats.
The 24-hour peak was 58.
Ah, damn it.
So, I mean, you were kind of close, Steve. By comparison, yeah, okay. Nope, I'm not going to give it away. Remnant from the Ashes was higher than Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, as could be expected, because it only had to beat 58. Jesus Christ, what is happening? So the question is, I will give you the all-time peaks. All-time peak of Remnant from the Ashes was 48,194. The all-time peak of Exoprimal was 4,522. What is the 24-hour peak of Remnant versus Exoprimal?
Oh man. I reckon.
Bear in mind, Exoprimal has been out for just over a month.
But it's on Game Pass, so it's probably just going through the Microsoft servers, whatever they are. I reckon Exoprimal is 500 and Remnant is about 200.
Wait, is this 24-hour peak or
this is just 24-hour peak?
The difference between a 24-hour peak.
No. This is just the 20. So what I'm getting at, Remnant from the Ashes and Exoprimal both have had more players in the last 24 hours than Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. It can go get fucked. My question is, Exoprimal's been out for a month. Remnant from the Ashes was released in 2019, but Remnant 2 came out a week ago. So what is the 24-hour peak of Remnant? What is the 24-hour peak of Exoprimal?
Oh, okay. 24-hour peak of Remnant, I want to say it's over 9,000. And for Exoprimal, 350.
All right, over 9,000 and 350. And Steve, you said 500, 200, but I don't remember which order.
500 for Exoprimal, 200 for Remnant.
Okay, well, by the Price is Right rules, Saif can absolutely go get fucked on Remnant. 24-hour peak was 2,981, which is still respectable.
Very respectable since the game's pretty old.
Yep, since the game is pretty old. Exoprimal's peak, 991, 24 hours. So looks like Steve gets one back.
Uncommon Stephen W.
Uncommon Stephen W. I just think that's super fascinating. Like the difference is just is crazy, because I without knowing much about Remnant or Exoprimal would just assume Exoprimal was still a higher 24-hour peak than Remnant 1, but not them players love themselves some Steam Remnant 1. Anyway, thank you for joining me on this quick 4-minute Steam chart segment. I always think it's super interesting. It's, I don't know, just a dumb fun segment for me.
I like it. No, it's
an audience
fun.
question. What?
Yeah, I like those segments a lot. They are a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, and trying to do like sort of off brand comparisons, because I mean, yeah, as we say, one game's been out for 4 years, one game's been out for 4 weeks. Who's been playing more of it? It is a shame about Exoprimal though. Really hope that game turns itself around.
Have you been playing it?
I and everyone else who is thinking about playing it but doesn't see enough people playing it to make it worth our time. The tragedy of the commons. Finally, this week we have an audience question. Max writes in. He says, "Hey lads, hope you're all doing well!" Exclamation mark.
Hi Max.
Loving your podcast. The number of games I've decided to play after hearing you talk about them is wild. They've all been hits, no misses yet. Hands emoji. My question is, if you were a Pokemon gym leader, what would your type and ace be? Bonus points if you can make a full team. Kind regards, Max. Well, Max, I can actually take a swing at this one, because I No.
I just wrote mine out.
I've
made a
thought
full
about this
team.
quite a lot. I don't have a full team, but my type would be ice, and my ace would be a Alolan Sandslash.
Holy fucking shit. I'd be a fire type. You get fucking flogged. Holy shit, man.
I
You're
can't
dead.
believe you didn't pick Shiny Sneasel.
Oh.
The ace is like, I went and found the cringiest pink shiny sprite in history and just went, that is my ace. Does it even have Eviolite, Seth?
I mean, that's up to you.
Would I, as the gym leader, like to see it suffer a little longer or just put it out of its misery? Good question. I'll try and think of a few other things to add to my team, but I'm a sucker for ice types, and I quite like steel types as well. And Alolan Sandslash is just legit one of my favorite Pokemon. And when it was announced that Alolan Sandslash is ice steel type,
it becomes quad weak to fire, but it's an ice type Sandslash. It looks so cool.
It's quad weak to fire. It'd get fucked. Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of other cool Pokemon that have quad weaknesses as well. It's not like this is unique to Alolan Sandslash, like any bug and grass combo.
It's definitely not. It's just something I wanted to bring up about one of its fatal flaws, which is...
Oh, yeah.
Which sucks for that Pokemon in particular because of how much I like it.
Yeah, it does. Anyway, while I think of other random Pokemon to add to the team, all being just ball or ice types, anyone? You said that you wrote out your entire team, Seth. Why don't you hit us with that?
Yeah. Okay. So I was arguing with myself whether I wanted to go Dark or Ghost type because those are my two favorites. I ended up going with Dark. My team is going to. My team is going to be Scrafty, Sableye, Houndoom, King Gambit, Shiny Weavile, and Hydreigon as the ace.
Jesus. You're a gym leader. You can't have a pseudo legendary as your ace. The fuck's wrong with you?
Fine, let me get rid of Hydreigon for something else then.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, we're waiting. Hurry up.
I'm looking at Dark type Pokemon. I want someone that I like.
Mightyena.
Yeah, you get that Intimidate bonus.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, love to see it. Or are you one of those technicality people where the Mega Evolution or the Terrestrialize is Dark type and really you can just use anything?
No, but then he has to
I wouldn't do
it.
that.
You don't want to run Mega Gyarados?
No. Then he has to terrestrialize it.
I'd change things around. I guess I'd make King Gambit the ace, and I'd chuck Crocodile into the team.
I'm surprised you didn't say Annihilate.
That's Ghost fighting my
Was
friend.
that? Oh shit! Why did I think that was Dark? Okay, no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because it gets because Primeape gets so angry it dies.
Very.
That's the joke.
Very, very uncommon, Patrick L. Interesting. Okay, cool. And Steve, your thoughts?
I'd definitely be a fire type Buzz.
Okay. Fucking meet your time.
Is it just gonna have every fire fighting?
What do you mean? It's just gonna have Charizard on the team. It's gonna have 6 Charizard.
No, it's just gonna be one Blaziken, and it goes through my entire team of 6 Alolan Sandslashes.
It's got speed boost as well.
Yeah, it's got speed boost.
Yeah, I'd probably use like a Galarian Darmanitan as well. Love that. There's so many good fire types. Chandelure, everybody's favorite. Salazzle.
Galarian Darmanitan? Isn't the Galarian one the ice one?
Ice fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the pre-evolution Darumaka is only an ice type, but when it evolves.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. No, I had it fucked up. Yeah. We're good.
Yeah. So no, pretty fucking sick. I love it. So many good types. Like,
is it going to have the Snowman Zen mode? Of
course it is. Like, it has to. It's got like Guerrilla Tactics or whatever.
Yeah, Guerrilla Tactics.
Yeah, that fucking just
free choice band.
Well, and yeah, pretty much. But like, don't forget, like the Zen mode is the one that has the fire. Like the general Galarian, the standard mode is only the ice type. It's when it gets into Zen mode, it gets a fire type as well. So
yeah, that's what fucked me up.
Yeah. Which am I cheating? Yes, but it's fine. Play on the core. Yeah, you got all your favorites. You got Volcarona, you got Skeleton.
I was going to say, please tell me you got Volcarona on there.
Yeah, maybe Cerule Edge as well.
Talonflame.
Yeah, Talonflame, set up that Tailwind, baby. Yeah. Oh man, so many good fire types. I was tossing up with like electric types as well because like Luxray is probably my favorite Pokemon. But actually, Magmortar, fuck. I love Magmortar. That's probably my second favorite Pokemon. Gen 4 is just a pinnacle of Pokemon design. Shame those games.
You could put Rotom Heat in there. You want to get really, really crazy.
I don't want to get baked.
Actually,
I know you love this Pokemon a lot. You could put Chi-Yu in there.
I don't think I like Chi-Yu. It's a fucking fire goldfish. Chi-Yu is only good competitively. Yeah. And even with like the regulation D, it is not getting any usage anymore.
Also, we just talked about where we can't have, because that's still a pseudo, isn't it? We shouldn't have pseudos on gym teams.
No, that's just a full legendary.
Yeah, it's a full legendary. It's like a roaming Pokemon, like an Entei or something.
Watch me just whip out Mind Shao real quick. No, not Mind Shao. The Pen Chao? What's the
Chien Pao.
Chien Pao.
Yeah,
one of them.
Burret. Ice type Burret.
Yeah.
I'll just get out the Darkrai. Not even legendary is an event.
Yeah, it's mythical. They fucking nerfed Darkrai. Darkrai's terrible. Its signature move is like 50% accurate. Might as well flip a coin.
Speaking of Gen 4 though, I still don't have a full team together, but one of the ones I definitely want in there, Frozlass and Abomasnow, because Frozlass is also one of my favorite types, like favorite Pokemon.
See, Gen 4 fucking perfect.
There's definitely a weakness in that the things that I like are quad weak to fire, but but they look sick.
Steven's on the Gen 4 is peak again. I think he needs to replay Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Yeah. That is the sign. I did put it in the group chat. Like, I needed a sign, and this might be the sign. I'll just play Legends Arceus.
The cry for help, perhaps.
The actual good Gen 4 game.
Yeah. We'll see how we go, though. We'll see how we go. I don't know. I just had this voice in the back of my head, like, oh, yeah, play Gen 4. Play Gen 4 again.
I'm sure I could squeeze out another couple, because I got 3. I just need 3 others. What do we got? Gen 3 ice types, sort of mid. Frozlass is better. Avalug's kind of cool. Avalug. Cryogonal is sort of interesting. Vanillux. Vanillux fucks.
Vanillux is really good.
Vanillux.
Vanillux. Whatever. I actually hate its design, but God, its stats are amazing.
There's that SQ
Pokemon. Titan is pretty good as well.
Yes, actually, that's a good catch. I forgot about that. That was actually on my team for Scarlet Violet. What was the one that you said? Ice-Q. Yeah, Ice-Q's an interesting one.
Don't think because it's got that Mimikyu disguise ability.
Yeah.
Walrein, Frostlass, Mr. Rhyme if you want Ice Psychic.
No. Frozlass is on there. Walrein, I don't know. I guess that's the one thing that would stop.
Empoleon should be a
rolling by fire types, but
Patrick, he's here. Iron Bundle.
Pseudo legendary doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of me being a gym leader and going, hey, look, here's a Pokemon I found from the future.
Well, then you could just go Delibird.
Yes, that's my ace. Move over Alolan Sandslash, my favorite free-for-all choice banded hustle, present Destiny Bond, Ice Shard. What was the fourth move? Oh, shit. Anyway, that Delibird was a fucking menace. That's such a good call, Seth. Thank you.
Other ones that probably up for consideration is like Aurorus and Crabominable.
Aurorus, that one's up there. I actually really like what's Snom's evolution? Frosmoth. Actually, really like
Frosmoth is really good.
So unfortunately, Frosmoth, Abomasnow, and fucking Alolan Sandslash are all quad weak to fire. So I guess therefore the last couple have to be Walrein, Aurorus, and Delibird. There we go. Boom. That's my team.
Now this is cheating a little, but if I were to take your typing, my ace would be Alolan Ninetales.
I mean, fine.
I just really like Alolan Ninetales, and I got a shiny of that when I played through Ultra Sun.
That's cool. Alolan Ninetales is really cool, but it feels a little weird having Alolan Ninetales and Alolan Sandslash.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, of the two, gotta stick with my boy Sandslash. As soon as I got him in fuck, I don't even remember which version I played. I got him in. But just bred a shit ton.
I think it's version exclusive.
I think it is.
I I need to
been a while.
find out where it is. I'm getting to the decks. That's the decks entries, game locations. Here we go. It's in Ultra Moon
And Regular Moon, because I think
and
Regular Moon was
Regular Moon as well.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that tracks. Sick. Anyway, well, thank you, Max, for the question. Hopefully that answers it. If anyone else has a question they'd like us to answer, they can get in touch. We're on Facebook at Fast Travel Lounge, Twitter or X at Fast Travel Lounge minus the L that Riot is trying to release at Evo in a couple days, and good old Fast Travel Lounge at gmail.com, the old mailbag address. This does bring us to the end of episode 1984. I'm sorry, just 84. It's just that's the whole Orwellian thing. Couldn't help myself. But if you have enjoyed,
it just hit me that that's why you was making the 1984 joke at the beginning. Well, it just went right over my head.
Guess we got to restart the recording, boys. But if you have enjoyed what you've heard so far, please give us a review or a star rating or a like or however you can to help us out on the podcast platform, listening platform. That's what I meant to say. Of your choice, it really helps us out. I'm sure there was a funny line that I could have inserted about Krispy Kreme, but other than joking about Bestie Day, it didn't really come up much this week. Anything that you guys want to tease for next week? I might actually start Final Fantasy 16, or I might still be in Remnant 2. Those are the two options I see as most likely. Steve or Saif, anything interesting on the horizon?
I'm gonna try and platinum Final Fantasy 16. Maybe I'll go see Barbie if time and money allows.
Steve, anything from you? The final thoughts, the final words?
I've just been talking for a bit. I realized I had my mic muted. Apologies. What was I going to say?
Yeah, that was me. I muted it.
My hardware. Oh, shit. Using my walls. Fuck, I lost my words. Blah, 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 blah.
You're playing Monster Hunter? No way. That's so sick. That's so good for you.
I've just started playing Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Seth, please stop talking.
More like Based by Sleep.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll allow that.
I thought you were going to say Birth by Based. You know?
No, I have to keep the BBS.
Okay. You know what? Very close to being in trouble then. But fine.
You dodged a bullet, and we've dodged another episode. Thank you so much for listening. I've been Patrick. I've been joined by Seth and Steve. I realize I fucked up the order because this is when I normally say thank you so much for listening. And we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Happy birthday to the Matildas.